What's up, people? Welcome to this week's episode of the Indy and Dot podcast. We are joined by a special guest in different settings. His name is Beant Singh. He is a content creator, rapper, singer, representative of the panth.
No.
He makes everything about all Sikhi, all Punjabi music. Yeah, good to have you on, bro. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How you guys?
What an intro, man.
Is he not, though?
Representative of the panth.
Listen,
That's
when you look at his
crazy.
reels, it's either about Punjabiness, about Sikhi. When I'm like, yeah, you are. He
So-
covers all bases.
No.
Okay, so you're representative of all of them?
Yes, I know I am.
You've never proclaimed that.
Listen, no, he is though, man. He is.
No, I think we're all.
Oh, here we go.
Not as in us
He's
three.
playing it safe. He's playing it safe.
No,
I think we're
genuinely, I
all-
feel like we all are.
Yeah.
As
We're all-
Singhs,
yeah.
as Punjabis,
Okay,
when you're
let's go
going
there.
out, you kind of are. But I'm not like. It's not like there's it's not like there's 20 people, rambling.
absolutely-
Yeah.
You are absolutely.
There's like.
So what you're
millions
saying
of
is-
us.
You are a representative, not the representative.
No.
There you go.
No, you're saying he's the Jathadar. That's what
He's the leader. He's the leader.
This went left immediately.
bet you wish you didn't come now, did you?
I was looking forward to this for months.
Good.
Really?
It's good to have you on,
Yeah.
bro.
He put this for months.
So I messaged you guys. Well,
Yeah.
if you ever wonder who's on the DMs,
It's me.
Indy.
It's never Doctor.
because we met at Bhangra Showdown.
No.
And Karan Paji's looking at me like, who's this guy? And I was like, okay, yeah. Either his energy is way different in person,
Which is possible.
or he doesn't run the Insta.
Yeah.
And
No,
then
he
I
doesn't.
realized, yeah.
So just a small thing. You know this now because we're in a WhatsApp group. If it's me responding, it's going to be a voice note
Yeah.
because I never type.
He
I
does
rate
type a
that,
little
though.
bit.
Very rare.
He types at
Yeah.
work.
No, but as in when responding to DMs, it's only ever going to be a voice note. That's it.
And what do you like about voice?
It's just direct.
Yeah.
I can't be bothered with typing.
And they have to sit there and listen.
Well,
They're
so
like,
actually,
"Yeah,
do you know, this is a really good tip for you. Big
Mm.
profiles that we've landed, people that reach out, the first thing I send them is a voice note because of what? Curiosity and intrigue. They want to listen. Even if they don't want to do any work, they'll click it and listen to it.
Yeah.
So we've got a profile. I'll tell you offline. 250k followers. IG. We've landed. Going to bring on the podcast.
Sick.
Within 20 minutes of a message coming in, that person is in a WhatsApp group with us because of voice notes.
Voice notes.
It's
Yeah.
very direct. It gets to the point. Be very specific with what you're asking. Never fails.
Right, let's jump into it, bro. Beant, you are a representative of the new generation. You're
Hmm.
Gen Z?
Z,
Yeah.
Alpha.
I
Yeah,
don't
you are.
feel like it though.
No. But by age you are, yeah?
I'm 24.
Okay, so you are Gen Z, yeah? So as a
Yeah.
representative of Gen Z, we are going to ask you Gen Z related questions now, buddy. Get straight into it.
Ocho. Now
Question
I'm going to get baited
number
up for
one.
being an unk.
Question number 1. Do you watch other non-Desi content?
Yeah.
Like what?
Hmm.
On YouTube?
Oh,
What do you watch?
YouTube.
Yeah.
Do you use YouTube?
The Joe Rogan.
Okay,
Okay.
You've really put me on the spot now,
I have.
Desi's ramblings.
Hmm.
Desi's grew up on Superwoman, Just Rain, all them lot.
Yeah.
AK.
Yeah.
Non-Desi.
As in
There's
we-
going to be people I think about after.
We click on your YouTube. What comes up as suggested?
What comes up on
Dickhead?
your thing? Let's do
Can't
it now.
do
Let's
this
do it
thing,
now.
innit? Let's see.
Because I'm interested in your exposure to content, and as is very different.
Hmm.
No, some crazy stuff comes up. Let's see. Right, why is it sideways?
Why is your phone?
See,
sideways?
this is unk shit, innit? Sorry, unk stuff.
Means Uncle Karen.
All right.
All my
Okay,
boys,
okay.
they're like, oh, yo, Beyonce, unk.
So what does this word mean?
All right, here we. Okay, so shorts have actually come up first.
Okay.
GB News,
Yeah.
Nigel Farage,
Yeah.
Okay.
Vox.
Yeah.
Oh, the Ramsey Show.
Okay.
He's Bakwas though. Let
Dave
me be
Ramsey.
honest though, because his
Who
stuff.
is the Ramsey show? I don't know who
No
that
debt.
is.
No debt.
So his stuff is
Who's the Ramsey show?
financial freedom.
I've told you this.
sort
Dave
of
Ramsey.
stuff.
The 7 steps.
7 steps, but it's a little bit kind of outdated because he's like you shouldn't have a mortgage and things
Okay.
like that.
You know what Dave Ramsey's saying? Because people
Yeah,
challenge
go
me
on,
on
that's
this. Because if you have the other side is like the Robert Kiyosaki, which is going to loads of debt, leverage, buy property.
We are 5 minutes into the podcast, and Goran's already mentioned Robert Kiyosaki.
There you go.
Love it.
What
Keys.
Ramsey is saying is for the arm banda who has
Yeah.
no kind of bigger vision and just wants to get out of debt and not have a life full of debt, I think it's the right advice. But if you
Yeah.
want to be an entrepreneur and grow and scale, but he's saying that, he's like, if you take my advice, you're not going to be a billionaire. He says that openly.
Mm.
He's like, you're not going to get to that level. This is just so you're not in like massive amounts of debt hanging it down to your kids. It's a good message to them, but
Good
if you want to
point.
be an entrepreneur, yeah.
It's a
not-
good point, and that's why he
Yeah.
says don't get a credit card.
Yeah.
But we
But
know you should get a
yeah,
credit
yeah,
card.
Yeah.
But
If
in
you pay off in
America-
full. Yeah.
America is different.
But in America, so I did the things.
Hmm.
In the UK, I think 60% of people pay their credit card off.
In full, each month.
In America, it's 40%. Therefore, Americans and American companies incentivize you to get a credit card with crazy points. Look at Amex here. It's actually not very worth it. I'm doing it now. I've had it for a few years.
Which one have you got?
I've got the gold one. Before that, I had the platinum rewards one, the cashback one.
Okay.
That was like 0.5% basically.
Have you looked at American Express, the BA one?
And I've got the gold one. Not the BA, because I don't fly BA. Because I like to...
Consider it
Okay.
We both get companion vouchers.
Yeah.
So I went to India.
Yeah.
2 tickets, 300
Didn't
quid.
fly with Air India, and I'm really proud of him for that.
300 quid.
300 quid. I think
Went to Dubai, companion
dropped 9
voucher.
bills.
me and
Okay,
Sam,
I went.
£200.
There you go.
I think I dropped 9 bills when I went last year.
Yeah.
This time. Like,
9 bills is £900. Karan. Okay, fine.
Yeah. Because it's not 9,000.
I need to keep on.
I worked it out.
Because he doesn't understand. Speaking to the
But
mic.
back to the YouTube.
Yeah, carry on. So you got the date.
Interesting
We've
that you
got
watch Ramsey.
food.
though.
Oh, this goodie, Nisha.
Nisha,
Yeah, they
she's,
counted.
she's
counted.
also a finance expert. Yeah.
Yeah, she's great. LBC.
LBC.
The Onk stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff that 50-year-old men. Oh, our guy, Garsh Singh.
Akash Singh. Yeah. Good.
That's the guy.
So you're quite desi in your
Schultz.
algorithm. In Schultz.
MKBHD.
MKBHD is a good one. Okay, so
Oh,
He-
Tom
Who?
Scott.
can't see him.
This Gora here.
Huh.
Most interesting content. Like just random stuff.
Tom
This is
Scott.
fantastic features we don't have in the English language. What a brilliant video. Oh, I love it.
See,
I
you're not
love
giving
it.
me the answer.
Oh, I
I
love
wanted
it.
here. But
Yeah,
for example,
No
that is-
Sidemen.
but
None of
that is
that. Oh,
interesting. I was going to ask you.
Beta Squad.
You do watch them.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Sidemen and Beta Squad.
Not Sidemen. Beta Squad.
Why the difference between the two?
So, in my opinion, Sidemen are middle class, very middle class, private school Gorde.
Yeah.
Chunks, look, I'm from Limited Spice. I'm fairly middle class anyway. But Chunks and those lot.
Chunks in Philly, yeah.
Well,
Well, it was Philly, but we can't say his word anymore. He's been scrubbed from the internet. He's been completely scrubbed from the internet. But normally when you say Chunks and Philly. That's what it was. They were.
Well, they
a
are the
dynamic duo.
podcast, right? Chunks and Philly podcast.
Yeah.
Darkest, all of them lot.
Yeah.
They represent how my friendship group were as kids.
Right.
So it's like that energy. It's like, it's way different. Whereas KSI is, what's that video? He's like, you get chefed up, my G, famalam. And it's like, you're that's not you, bro.
Because he's private school educated. Is he?
Yeah. Very wealthy.
So am I. But
Yeah, fair. I'm being judgmental here, but he does
his
fit
opinion?
the stereotype.
Yeah.
yeah, but I can code switch in between people all the time. I code switch between you, Karen, work. That doesn't make you a bad person. It just means you're adaptable.
He's not saying they're bad, but
Do you think
Cameron's
KSI's
opinion.
content is as relatable
I
to
don't.
you?
I don't watch much of KSI because I feel like he's
Yeah,
younger
yeah.
gen and he doesn't appeal to me.
is he authentic?
I'm
That's
too
the
old
question
for
you're
that.
asking. Or is he putting it on?
I think he's he puts it on where he's saying like family, my
Yeah,
G,
yeah,
but
yeah.
most of his content is authentic to that, and that doesn't appeal to me.
Which is fine.
But your
yeah.
content appeals to me maybe because you're Punjabi. But if you were doing something else, maybe I'd be like, oh, it doesn't appeal to me because
That's interesting.
you know what I'm saying. How much you guys talk about Punjabi stuff in shoes currently? It's very.
But that's because it's applicable to us and our people that we've chosen to cultivate.
So relatability.
And KSI doesn't talk about being a Nigerian banda. I think he's Yoruba. He don't talk
But
about
he
that.
doesn't need to.
Whereas Chunks and them lot, they're all Somali, I'm this.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
Nico, I'm Adda Gora, Adda Nigerian. Like you know what they all are and what they're doing. So it's way better.
What do you
in my
feel
opinion.
like your gen listens to for content? Like if you were to say something that's quite typical.
Because the vibes again is you're basically saying you're an old soul.
You're saying that you're an old soul essentially.
Right,
Right?
which
You're
I get,
saying
and I
you're
get those
actually a
vibes.
millennial instead
And
of
I'm
a Gen Z.
actually no, I wouldn't say millennial. I'm just maybe, but I'm
You are,
also
bro.
I'm also a young soul in it. But I just don't listen to. I'm an enigma. I don't.
Speaking to the mic, bro.
Sorry, I don't do everything. There's a lot of things that the blind spots in my, people will be. And look, the culture's fragmented.
Okay.
Culture's fragmented. Some, you don't have to be a number one selling artist to have a very good career in the music industry.
Fair.
You don't have to have the number one podcast to get brand deals because you've got a niche. We've got niches.
Correct.
The biggest Punjabi artists in the industry right now, they're aware of our content. They're they're talking to us. We're not massive. We ain't got millions of followers, but we have somewhat of an impact. Enough that they're paying attention and talking to us that we're relevant to the culture. So because it's so fragmented, you could take any Gen Z, any Gen X person, and they will be on a different side of the internet. Some things unite us all, like certain memes. They just, Montoya.
Yes.
That went bang. That's
It
like
did.
everyone knows about that, right?
Yeah.
But those moments are few and far between, in my opinion. So there is no, in my opinion,
So
massive.
in and amongst your friendship group then, what kind of content do they consume or what do they like to listen to?
What were you talking about
Because
if you got together?
What I'm trying to get at is what's the brown community not filling in that space?
Or brown community.
Or what are we not doing to get into that space so we can kind of understand it?
What are you talking-
Because I'm trying to understand what your gen likes, because a lot of them are maybe second gen, third gen kids, not first gen. We talk about a first gen experience. They talk about second, third. Maybe they're more involved in British culture than we were.
Maybe.
So what's appealing to them, and is there a gap missing?
So you're talking about my Punjabi boys in Lem,
Yeah.
not my random.
No,
Gully
both.
guy. Okay.
Give me both.
So boys in Leamington, they're heavily into our Punjabi music. Whatever's popping right now, we're interested in it. What else are they interested in? I'll be honest, like, you know, like they talk about red pill, blue pill and stuff like that. That stuff, that
Manosphere.
sphere is culturally relevant, albeit, you know, we're not necessarily out there listening and agreeing with everything, but it has its impact, and it is it's pretty massive. Like, people know who these podcasters are, and they're aware of their content, for good and for bad. I don't really know, you know, it's a difficult question. I wish you asked me this before so I could make it and have a think.
I want to put in the spot.
Yeah, fair. It's just on the spot, things don't come to me very well sometimes. It's like like an interview.
Yeah, no. All right, fine.
And they're asking you, like, name a time where
I guess
can't
what
remember.
the next iteration of this question is, what's growing right now at a rapid rate in content in your space, do you think, with your gen? Like, for example, the gimme is OnlyFans, right? And why that's becoming bigger and bigger. And we feel like that's something that's new in your gen, not ours, but our gen's also starting to gravitate towards it.
This is crazy because that's the OnlyFans is the opposite side of the coin of the Manosphere, right? This shift into
can you just tell people what the Manosphere is, just so they're aware? So obviously we know about it, but not everyone does.
My understanding of it is you have people like Andrew Tate, Fresh and Fit podcast. I think there's the Whatever podcast. These sort of and Jordan Peterson to an extent as well.
Interesting.
These individuals who, to varying degrees, you know, Jordan Peterson is a clinical psychologist, I believe.
Correct.
Are qualified and not qualified to talk about men's mental health, and just men really, often, in my opinion, to the exclusion of women, and often to the length where they're dismissive of women's experiences, and the typical thing where it's like men used to go to war, you know, what have women given and contributed to the world, and that kind of idea. That is works hand in hand with women, you know, like the Bonnie Blues, who are promoting this OnlyFans. You know, you don't need a man. You can be promiscuous, get paid for, you know, sexual acts and stuff, and look how great my life is. You know, they're the same. They work hand in hand, because then the Manosphere will point to that, and they'll say, look, that's what women are like. That's what women in this generation are like. You as a man need to rise above this. They generalize all of them
off that one or two handful of people. Yeah,
and you need to have a housewife who is Siddhi Sadhi, doesn't go out, doesn't drink, wears these kind of kapre. And also, we talk about content, it's fading now, but in the last few years, I don't know if you've seen the rise of those street interviews.
Yeah, I've seen it, yeah.
You know, how much should a man make? And then the goodies like,
it's still going.
Make, you know, six figures.
You still see it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's still loads of that. But it's even more raunchy now. It's like, what's your favorite position? Like, it's just in stuff, you're like, whoa, this is content now.
So that content, you know, then people are seeing, and they you know, put in the response. They're not going to put a woman that says, you know, I want a banda who's, you know, financially stable, doesn't need, you know, 100.
Because there's no clicks after that.
No one's
they'll put the craziest women and they put the craziest bande, and then that will split the culture. Look, the women will be like, look, men want you to be like this. You need to be promiscuous. You need to, and then it works hand in hand, right?
Okay.
So it's a big issue, in my opinion.
So with the OnlyFans stuff, what do you think is a concern for you with that?
Huge concern, like the normalization of adult content across content. Like we mentioned the KSI Sidemen. They have content where they're doing Tinder with adult actresses. KSI, cool. That's, you know, Tuadi Marji.
But is that casting?
No, they've done it Janke. Like that's what, as in these are like
intentional.
The you know, they put their instas in the thing, like they're known. You know what I'm saying?
The prominent figures.
It's part of the video. It's like me. You got gone.
Yeah. You know, it's not random. Yeah, it's very intentional that they're bringing in. It's a collab, right?
Yeah, it's like you saying, Tinder with the biggest Punjabi music artists, right?
Yeah.
So it's part of the video, it's part of the concept. Fine, that's for adults. No, it's not, because KSI promotes Prime. You get me? Logan Paul promotes Prime. That's for kids. That's, 5 to like 11-year-olds are loving KSI.
Yeah.
They're watching that on YouTube. They're seeing, what's a porn star? What's an adult? Looking at the profiles. What happens when you search a porn star's name? It's going to come up.
But Sidemen does have explicit content in it. It is swearing.
Yeah.
It is of that ilk. So I wouldn't necessarily say it has to be completely clean and squeaky clean. And it doesn't have to have any of
so
that.
don't market your drinks to kids.
But they can say that's a separate business venture.
Oh, do me a favor. The internet's like...
Yeah, but I'm telling you their rationale.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm not saying you do me a favor. I'm saying they can do me a favor because you have a responsibility. And my issue is that you know what you're doing. The internet it's not like it's on 9 o'clock, 10 p.m. on the TV. It's on YouTube. Anyone can access it.
Anytime.
Parents aren't aware. Parents are looking at KSI. He's for kids.
No, but if you mark the content as explicit, it doesn't come up on kids' YouTube or normal YouTube. You have to sign in sometimes. If they mark it.
So
if they mark it on YouTube.
How many parents are aware?
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong, hardly any. Hardly any at all.
I don't think that's good enough. I don't think that's enough of a barrier for you to prevent kids that are going. He's not doing anything illegal. I'm saying it's a very irresponsible thing to do, and it affects the culture and it affects young children.
Indy, this comes back to the point we discussed the other day, which is about responsibility, but unassumed responsibility. So, for example, we did this video about The Apprentice, right? And there was some backlash on that, which is about why you're swearing in this video. So then the people in the video had this chat about unknowingly, there are going to be parents who say, well, these are your role models. And so Indy was like, well, I didn't ask to be a role model. I was like, yeah, well, in some sense, you don't, but you assume that responsibility. And in the same way, what you're saying here is if his audience is this prime young gen, out of interest and curiosity, they will look at, what's this? And then you're saying they're going to get very young exposure to something that they should probably discover when they're older.
Yeah.
But like you said, not legal. You're right. You're right. There's nothing illegal about this.
That's a really eloquent way to put it. And you're right. There's a degree, right? We're all, quote unquote, in the public eye, however much we are.
Yeah.
And you could say, yeah, you do have a responsibility, right? I think we do to an extent. I don't think swearing's that deep, personally.
I don't either.
I don't think it's deep. Also, your content you don't market products to children.
No.
You don't do any, because you're saying it's a separate business venture, but why would a kid know who KSI was before to even buy it? Because of his content, right?
He's leveraging his following to get...
Yeah. Because David Ramsey wouldn't create a prime product because kids are like, who the hell is that? I don't care. They know Logan Paul. Logan Paul's on the WWE. They know KSI. And I'm not attacking them personally. I'm sure they haven't really thought about this. But that's a big issue. And the fact that OnlyFans, all these kind of outlets are becoming so popular, having a massive impact on adults, which is cool because adults have their own choice. You can make, free marketplace, whatever. But on children, it's crazy. And the impact on children I grew up with the internet.
Right.
You go to school, people
You
say,
grew up with the actual internet. We didn't grow up with it. We grew up with MSN.
Yeah, so
internet came...
So the internet was left at home. It wasn't on your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had it in school.
And it was on your phone. I think that the first iPhone came out when I was in sixth form.
Okay, so...
And then even then, there wasn't much to browse. There were barely any apps that were compatible with internet stuff now.
Yeah.
Nowadays, though, all that social media at school would really mess with me if I was that young.
If you're allowed
it still
to have
does
your phone.
now. Even at work, I'm like, I got to put my phone to one side to get stuff done.
Are phones allowed in school?
It depends on the school. Some of them say leave it at reception. Some say if you catch your phone out, you're going to get suspended or whatever. I don't know.
That's suspension, not detention. Suspension.
So you both feel like it benefited you
What,
not have a phone?
Yes, big time, man. Because I'm going to have to have conversations with my niece and nephew one day about how they feel about their phones and stuff like that. And my niece is, because she's a girl, I have more concern for her than I do for my nephew because she's going to be more involved in the insecurity side of it.
Massive.
And I love her so much and I don't want her to be too exposed to anything that's going to make her feel insecure or that's going to hurt her like mentally.
Yeah.
So one day I'm going to be asking her like, how are you feeling about this? Do you use social media? And they've started using CapCut. They know how to use CapCut and make funny memes. I'm like, all right, but I know the next step of this is posting something.
Yeah, your online footprint, what you're being exposed to.
Mm.
There's a lot of pressure as a kid anyway.
Without this, yeah.
And I remember going to school and someone, for example, like they'd move school because their nudes got leaked. I remember my friend at uni told me,
that's a real thing.
real thing. This Guri from Guri moved to school at her school, and because her nudes got leaked. By the time she moved to the school,
They found out as well.
the nudes got leaked in that school. So what are we like? How are we gonna teach our kids properly
Safeguard.
when we're normalizing adult content across like this is why it's an issue with Sidemen with this.
Coming on podcasts.
Coming on podcasts, normal podcasts, they're just on there. It's like, this is getting to a point where, look, as you know, there's a female empowerment thing, you know, you do
So,
what you need to do.
let's flip that question, right? So take the kids aside now.
Yeah.
If a woman or a lady were to say, what's wrong with making money in this way? What's your jawab to that?
Who's the woman?
A person on OnlyFans.
On the street, who I don't know.
Yeah.
Party marji.
Yeah,
You can drink as well. You can do whatever you want. If
So
my
as a
parent,
way of
if
making
it's
money.
my mom, if it's my family,
Yeah.
obviously it's a disgusting thing to say, but somebody I care about,
Yeah.
a whole different conversation. If I don't know you, jo marji karo, main
So
nuki.
in essence, as a way of making money, earning a way, you have no issue with that.
I mean, it's the oldest business in the world, isn't it? So, but as a I don't want to put moral police in, but let's actually go on a real thing, on a spiritual thing that I don't think that's healthy for anybody. On
Why?
a spiritual thing.
You're saying it's so we're looking through the lens of
Yeah.
You shouldn't have too much of anything, basically, on a spiritual thing. Everything
No,
should
no.
be kind of moderated to a level.
No, that's fine. But you're talking about people consuming the content. I'm on about the person who's creating it. Like, so we're basically what we're talking about. Prostitution. Why is in the same way we talked about why swearing a bad thing? Why is prostitution viewed as the galla? Why?
I don't think it mentally. There's a power imbalance there, and OnlyFans. This is a really interesting topic because OnlyFans actually balances the power because I am no longer physically in danger of you coming to see me, and we're having.
And they're not at the
That's a
risk
good
or
point.
exposure of the
Yeah.
industry, the adult industry,
Yeah.
which is very risky.
Yeah, they're their own bosses, and there's an argument there to say, well, it's
Which
actually,
is why people endorse
one
it so much,
removed.
because they're like, look, I get to be in control of how much I post and what I do.
and it's addressed that power imbalance to an
Right.
extent. But to formulate why, I think all intuitively we kind of feel a type of way like that's not good for your soul.
Yeah, we'll say that.
It's
yeah.
immoral. It's it's not spiritually good for you. But to actually articulate why is a difficult thing to do. And I can't right now. I can't actually think of why. It just you just say it is wrong, innit? You wouldn't want any of your family members.
Basically,
doing that.
there's leakage off the OnlyFans rise, is what you're saying. There's runoff, and the runoff is the casual exposure to that kind of industry in your day to day. Like on Twitter, we're scrolling through and you'll randomly see it. And it's probably because someone you follow has liked an image. And it comes up and you're like, whoa, I was just looking at football memes.
I didn't ask for this.
Right? And it's just there.
Yeah.
And they have full blown adult stuff on Twitter there if you want to go and find it. So, okay, put that in the hands of a kid then.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you see mass addiction.
And so we can see that's an issue. Separate issue is there's people who see that and say, "Oh, I can make a millionaire. I can be a
Now,
millionaire."
here's my issue.
Yeah.
How do I speak to a young lady and incentivize them to
Have a 9 to 5 when
career?
they probably think they
have
can
a
do that.
yeah, but like a proper skill. I'm talking not like working at Aldi. Nothing wrong with that. But like a doctor, lawyer, marketer, whatever
Or
it might be.
Even a normal office job.
Yeah, but even like a what we used to be considered the top profession, skilled pilots, whatever. Like why?
Well,
I can
so
do this now.
Firstly, what part of the issue is, I was reading an article about it. Women are getting influenced to do this because they're seeing there's a lot of money in it, and theirs doesn't become as popular. Those images are out there forever.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
You know,
You're saying
Even if you retire, who is it?
Yeah.
Mia Khalifa. She stopped doing it years ago, but
great
she's still got
example.
that tag on her of like, oh, but you did adult work,
Yeah,
and you can never shed that, no matter how hard you try.
True, but I don't think she cares. Like, you look at someone like Sunny Leone,
No,
right?
I think she cares because there's been every Lab Vibe article was like, oh, Mia Khalifa says like the clickbait title. Mia Khalifa says she regrets it. Her biggest regret. She wishes she didn't do this one thing. Click to read, and it's just rinsing and repeating the same quotes year on year.
Fine, she's one example, but if you look at someone like Sunny Leone, right, who's made it into Bollywood and is now established and has left that industry, I think some of them understand it's a means to an end, and they understand that tag will never go, but they have
Some
the lifestyle.
do, but Sunny Leone didn't hit the heights that Mia Khalifa did.
She's-
And Mia
she's
Khalifa did
killing
way
it.
less work.
fine. But I think some of them will be, yes, the tag will be there forever, but I've got the life I want now. Does it justify
Yeah,
the means?
it might do, but then
But you're right, the tag never goes. The tag does never
gonna
go.
stay with you. Yeah.
I think there's something private about that, right? And you're just sharing it with the world. And that, I think that's the fundamental thing where it's like,
It's a very intimate
this
thing.
is your body, this is your whatever you're doing, and you're sharing that with the world, and that's going to have ramifications, because if you don't want that to be shared when you're 30, but you didn't mind when you were 18, because bear in mind, 18, these guri are 18.
Yeah.
They're 18 years old, and they're making decisions that are going to affect them for their whole life.
They've made documentaries about this of people who have said, like, I regret doing it and I can't change it. And they're trying to warn people about that and have foresight.
Yeah.
But if the bag is potentially that big, means money. If the money is that big,
you're
going to want to chase it. And but I understand that inhibition. I would want to go and chase it too.
Oh, allow it.
No, it's true though.
But the equivalent, not OnlyFans.
If you're in abject poverty,
different.
And you're thinking, or if you're lower class or even middle class, and you want to buy a house, and you're thinking, this is my quick ticket to go and get it, I'll do it.
The issue with this, what people need to have is when they listen. Okay.
Would you though, Indy? Sorry.
No, but he gets bared out. What he's talking about
Get his bear out. He's got them shoes on. Yeah, I'd rather him have the bear.
I'm speaking about me in the third person. I'm talking from their perspective. Me personally, I don't know what I'd do if I was that broke and that poor, and life was that difficult for me. You make some risky decisions to get out of it.
In this country?
Exactly.
Is it? No, in this country, I know with economic downturn, things are difficult. I'd really posit to these people: is it that deep? Is it that difficult where you can't work at Tesco and put food on the? A lot of people haven't got kids, so we're not talking about kids anyway. Put food on the table for yourself. I don't think it is. I think what we're actually missing here is like a mental health aspect. Are you happy in your life? Are you fulfilled?
Yeah.
The answer is probably not. Probably enjoy the attention. That gets worse and worse because
you saw the documentary on Lily Phillips, right?
Yeah.
And the guy who followed her around and he filmed the whole thing and
didn't seem happy.
He spoke to her. He said afterwards on many different interviews, she just seems detached. And he said she's a lovely person and there's absolutely nothing wrong with her. It just feels like she's harming herself and she's doing it to herself. And something must have happened to her to want to go through this level of
ordeal.
Feel for her, or this kind of self-harm in a way.
Well, so I said this to my boys, obviously Monday, they're like, oh, Beant, why do you feel sorry for her? But ultimately, I said, if somebody was happy, fulfilled and stable, would they ever go through what she's gone through? Obviously, she's done it to herself, it's free will, and I appreciate that. But like, from an objective position, would you ever sleep with X amount of men in a day if you were mentally, spiritually nourished and stable? Even if you were little bit unstable. I'm saying on the continuum,
the bell
on
curve.
The spectrum,
crazy on the really ducky kind of end of it, and I'm saying literally if you were a couple points this way, you wouldn't even do that.
That's true.
I mean? You know what I mean? And that's where I come from. I think the society we're in it's not about the bag. It's about something deeper spiritually, mentally that people are missing.
Which is meaning and validation, which is fair.
Yeah.
The other thing that people fail to appreciate in many walks of life is statistics, which is when people look at this and they think they can make it, they're looking at the 1%, that bell curve there. And you're right, because everyone who doesn't make it, no one gives a shit about you. Same with podcasts, right?
If you start doing that and you don't make it, but someone gets that image in your circle,
so
your life is over.
You gain nothing financially.
You have to now
lost everything.
Change your address, location, identity. Because imagine if there are girls who've done this. There are girls who have done it in the brown circles and they've been ridiculously shamed. I don't know their names, but there's a couple people in Canada that I know have been mentioned.
Katapa's always going after one,
exactly right. But they've been shamed and stuff, and their names in the community now. You'll never be able to shed that. So their chance of maybe marrying someone in the community is very slim.
Yeah.
There's a really good book you should read. It's about 50 pages, very small. You should read it as well. You can read it one night. It's called "Why We Hate Cheap Things."
Okay.
There's a company called School of Life, and there's a question in there which
School of Life Equality. They're really like lifestyle.
Alain
de Botton, guy's a legend.
The question in there, Beant, I'll ask you now, is why does an assassin get paid more than a palliative care nurse?
Why does
an assassin get paid more than a palliative care nurse? And basically, this whole chapter is
killing is more expensive than saving a life.
Yes, that's part of it. So basically, he talks about this
You don't need
concept.
to read the book now, bro. There you go. I'll give you the answer.
Well, the book isn't about that, but that's
I
one
know.
part of the book. And he's basically, he's trying to explain why do footballers get paid millions? Why do OnlyFans? Why, on the other end, the consumer, why are they able in this society? Why is that validated? And he's basically just talking about this concept, which is how many people can do what you do? So how many people can be the assassin in this example?
Very
And how
few.
many people are willing to pay for that service?
Very
And,
few.
and that's it.
Supply and
so-
demand, baby.
Supply and demand. So if you look at, we talked about earlier in that previous episode, what is Kalyug? Kalyug is now, OnlyFans exists because people are willing to pay. So if you're that person who has no relationship in your camera, who wants some sort of validation from a real person, you're willing to pay. So this
you're
only
saying-
exists. Go on.
You're saying go upstream and fix the problem.
Yeah. But
Because all of this are downstream
You know
problems
what?
that have come as a result.
It's what he's
of certain
saying
things.
because people
Yeah.
lack meaning. You look at Maslow's hierarchy, the basic needs are not being met, and maybe some of them are, but in that middle bit, which is meaning and purpose, people are just empty. And then they try and fill that with these dark vices, and there's no answer to that. There is no, that pit is just deep
Yeah, to be fair, we focused on the Korean, we focused on the
on that side.
YouTubers promoting it.
Yeah.
We're not looking at the consumer. And
Yeah.
that's actually,
Because if there's no market if nobody buys
there's
it.
no market. Yeah, you're just on your own.
But so why are people buying it?
And that's
the
you're actually
question,
right. You know what? Scrap all that. That's
No,
the
no,
main
listen,
thing.
Scrap it. It's
just the other side,
It's
yeah,
two
yeah.
halves of a conversation. Now we're
It
looking at the
is.
second
It
half.
is. But I think we've just fallen into the trap of what everyone does. All the news outlets, most people do is look at what's the visible thing and say that's the problem. And we're not saying, well, actually, that.
You don't
Like
look at the invisible thing.
Well, it's
Or
like
the result of the
like
cause.
literally, it's like you cut it off from the source, and it's not going to be a problem. It's like you're worrying about I don't know, your heart doesn't work. It's like it's the heart problem. No, it's actually an artery problem, right? Your arteries are blocked.
Yeah.
Dr. Saab, you see what I did there?
You
Yeah?
thought about
Oh, that was
that.
right.
I was
really
going to give
good.
a legal analogy, but I was like,
That was
let me
really
actually
good,
let
man.
me talk to the audience.
Go on,
you
go
know?
Let him land.
Us.
Let me
See
land.
that? Let
You know
him
them
land.
ones.
Amazing.
I'm so happy I'm teaching you many different words on this pod. What does unk mean, Garn?
Uncle.
Huh?
Uncle.
Old
gen.
There
Yeah.
you go.
I'm
What
a
does bag mean,
resident
Garn?
monk.
Money.
There you go.
I got lots of bags.
Didn't we say something the other day? And
What did we say?
Dr. Saab was lost.
He's always lost.
Oh, you know what? That happens a
he's
lot.
always
Is that I
lost,
think
man.
you meant this, Beant.
on our
Yeah,
pod?
yeah.
Yeah. No, on the WhatsApp group.
In the chat.
Oh,
on
cha,
WhatsApp.
cha, cha.
You're like,
Yeah.
I pretty much from context will understand what you're saying,
yeah.
but but then in my head I'm like, why don't you just say it normally? But to you that's normal.
Because, no.
Because
Yeah.
he's being
Because
his
I
authentic
view
self.
you as my peer. As a
He's
little bit
being his-
older.
He's being his authentic self
Fair.
around you.
That's fair.
I can't view you as an unk. We're not
That's
that.
fair. No,
What,
we're
10
not.
years?
We're
Something like
not.
that. It's not that much.
Kush Vinny. Old
Those
soul.
those grey hairs haven't classified you as that old man yet.
You
man.
get me?
I got mine coming out too. You know. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Beant, you said to us a controversial statement off camera, which was
Yes.
you think you are English. Why do you think you're English?
Pakka.
He doesn't think. He says he is
I'm
English.
English.
Why? Are you
Nah.
English?
I'm ethnically Punjabi, obviously.
Yeah.
Punjabi Sikh. But say Jat.
Casteism, budgie. We're here already.
Alright, do you know what,
we have
do you know what?
arrived.
Do you know, I say this on so many different platforms. If you are a Jat, right, and you say you're a Jat, there is nothing wrong with that. Okay? There is literally nothing wrong with saying that.
It's the occupation.
Siddi ji gall hai.
Why don't
No,
you say
but-
Kisan then?
The reason I said a Jat is because is
Look at you, semantics. He's like, no, but
I
why
think-
didn't you say
But
this?
they're both the same thing.
they are, but I am actually not a Kisan. I'm a vakil. I'm a vakil.
He's a vakil,
I like that.
What's
but he
that?
owns land. Oh, no.
But I am a Jat in it by caste.
Mhm.
And it does, in my opinion, delineate a certain subculture in Punjab. A dominant one, and one that does actually infiltrate and
Yeah.
affect the whole of Punjab and
Yeah.
Punjabiyat and everything. But the fact that my Bibi Baba, Nana, Nani, everyone were Jat, some of them are, Nana Ji's passed away, but that's why I said were. Obviously, my Baba
Yeah,
still
yeah,
is. Anyway,
yeah.
They, that means that we have a certain culture, right? Same as being from Doaba, Jalandhar.
This is so important.
It affects
When you
things.
have an undercarriage,
Yeah.
and back in the day, even now, you know the reason why they say Jatana Byakar? It's
Mhm.
not to do with them being Jat, Uttar Khan, or whatever it might be. It's the Sava, Utna Bana.
Yeah,
It's
any
slightly, it's different. And it's not one that's right or wrong. It's just
Yes.
what are we used to? This is where our values are similar. What they're actually trying to ask is values. They don't say values. So they use a surrogate marker, which is caste.
And it's not that deep,
Mm.
and it's not deep in the UK because most of us have created British Punjabi diaspora identities.
Mhm.
So
No, it's
me
still
being-
deep. It's still deep.
as in the issues and prejudices are still there, definitely.
Yeah.
But as in, like, there's not much difference from Punjabi Jat to a Punjabi Tarkhan. Where
born up in the
differences
UK.
Where
do
your
come.
parents make you think.
Yeah,
that
but
there
Oh,
is-
not mine.
He's accepting.
Big up my parents.
Sorry. The older gen make
Yeah.
you feel like there's still a massive
Sometimes.
distinction.
But he accepts that what he's saying is the actual kids, our level, the ones getting married, we're pretty similar.
Nah, some people still carry it forward.
But where I would say the difference does come in, and it's not about Tarkhan or Jat thing, because you have Jats from Kenya as well,
Yeah.
is the Kenyan, Uganda, and Punjabi. Everyone can get married, fine, but there is cultural differences
Yeah.
there. And like you say, one's not better, one's not whatever, but you can acknowledge that and celebrate both. Doesn't mean you can't do that. Same with interracial, right? If you're, obviously if you're doing a Nant card, you're both Sikh, but if one is, from African background, one's like, I don't know, Parisian, not a big deal. The cultures can work, but you can't sit there and acknowledge and not acknowledge, well, we have different cultures. We all Punjabi, but there's subcultures within that. And like I say, in Punjab, it's a bigger difference. In the UK, I don't think, a Jat wedding might be a little bit different, but a Jat day-to-day living and a Tarkhan day-to-day living
In the UK.
isn't that different. Yeah, in the UK.
if it isn't that different, why do old school Jat people, old school people from Kenya, etc., live in their own separate community areas? For example, London is very heavily Tarkhan. Birmingham
is it?
is very heavily Jat. It is, man. Like, even me growing up in Birmingham, I think I only met 2 or 3 kids that were Tarkhan. The rest were all Jat. In London, it's flipped the other way.
See, this
I find that interesting because I'm thinking, why is that? Like, is it because they wanted to stay so close within their own sector, their own Sikh community, that they just wanted to hold on to that and say, we don't want to go outside of this?
Well, first thing, I didn't know London was like that.
Yeah.
And this speaks to the point that I actually live in London. I don't live in the outskirts. I live in central London. So I actually don't have much Punjabi community with me. The areas where there are Punjabis, I go and visit, but I've never lived there. I've never been a part of that community, so I didn't know that. When you say that, is it? I think it is. Well, for example, right, my Baba came to Leamington Spa. Why? Because his family were there. Why? Because some other family were there.
That's
Who did he come with? His Bendu.
Yeah.
His Bendu,
Yeah.
his mate were going to be Jat.
Yeah.
So they came together, came on a plane. Other people would have come from Gortley, my bend, and maybe the surrounding bends. Then that becomes
they all
more
go
of
to
a
the
Jat
same area.
area because of that. So that might be it. I don't know. There's probably some anthropologist or someone sociologist could look at this better.
No, it's literally that. It's where you come from and you set base.
Yeah.
And then loads
I
of
think
people-
it's that, and you just stay in the base.
So if you're in Kenya,
Yeah.
most of them are going to be Tarkhan. They come over, and then they'll might choose a certain road, certain area, and then they'll just go there. That's
That becomes
probably
the
And
it.
they
area.
all normally live with each other at first and then
Yeah.
move to
Yeah.
like a local part so
Yeah.
they can stay comfortable.
But I
within
think
that
that's
area.
not the Tarkhan thing. Like our family, that was our history as well. We all lived together.
Yeah.
as Jats. And
Yeah.
Until you have the finances and capital to be able to.
Yeah.
We're very lucky, man. Compared to what they did back then.
Oh,
What,
but
do you call salt in Punjabi?
what do I call?
Salt.
Oh.
Loon, lalla,
La,
Noon.
la.
lalla,
No,
the
no.
Lankar,
Nanna noon.
Nanna.
Thank you.
noon. ਅਸੀਂ noon ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ
noon.
ਦੋਨੋਂ ਜੱਟ ਹੈ yeah but we're from Patiala Patiala ਚ noon
Oh,
ਕਹਿੰਦੇ
you're from Patiala.
Patiala
Acha.
Hmm.
So then you got your own slang.
that's an even yeah
So there's the thing, right? So it's not about caste now.
no
It's
about regions
You're
yeah.
from Patiala. I'm from Duaba. Man's are from
So
wherever.
it's like a
Amritsar.
subsect of a
Yeah,
niche.
it's
So
like
it's
everything.
niching niches.
It's like I'm from Leamington Spa.
Hmm.
I'm not the same as a Cov man. I'm not the same as a Brum man.
Cough, man.
I'm not the same as
You're a
London
Midlander,
man.
so you're pretty similar.
Yeah. This
See
is
what I mean?
let's go back to England, right?
Angie,
So
why
Chunk-
are you
Chunk-
If I say Leamington, that's the most accurate thing I am. I'm a Leamington banda who lives in London and appreciates the whole
You're a
English
Shakespeare
culture.
walla. Yeah.
Yeah.
all right
Listen,
Go on, chat.
Born and
Wait,
raised
what's
in
you were
Leamington Spa, bro.
Shakespeare wala.
Sorry?
born and raised in Leamington Spa,
Yeah, but Shakespeare's from Stratford.
yeah
upon Avon.
Stratford
which is right next to Leamington Spa.
no but this is his
Yeah.
point man if you're
My
sub
point.
niching down
Different.
it's not that is it
Because if you live in Stratford, you have no up and air around you.
True.
This is why these actual and
By the way,
for
Leamington
the
Spa-
record,
Leamington Spa Gurdwara. Beautiful.
yeah,
Gurdwara,
beautiful.
man. So nice.
This is why, for the record, it's not about hating and saying we're different. It's just
Hmm.
about accuracy, right? Like if I could turn around and say all Indians are the same, that doesn't get us very far. Or some South Indian person to some Gujarati person to some Punjabi, they're all going to have different cultural things. We can't say Indian. We can, of course,
Hmm.
but it's not that accurate.
no there is commonality
Yeah,
but there is also what you're saying is appreciate the differences and they're
own
fun
thing. And
Yeah.
that's why I say recently with the Rishi Sunak stuff, is he English or not? I say, yeah, I'm not ethnically English, but I feel English, like proper English. Like,
Why do you feel English, bro?
well, number one, go on.
Differentiate between English and British.
British includes all these countries, right? Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, England.
You identify more as English and Scottish.
I've never been Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time in Wales. I love Wales, but it's not my necessarily culture. I don't know the language. You know, I like poetry. I like music, and they always talking about I'm Welsh, but I'm not.
Point, yeah.
I'm English, and that English is, like I said off the camera, is I'm in here. It's True School. It's Shinda. It's Skepta. It's J-Hus. It's Nines. Only Fools and Horses. 40 Towers. The British version of The Office. That's English, right? To me, and that's me. Like you can't. You know, I could say, I'm British. Tika. I am British. British Punjabi, whatever. But then why don't you go a step higher and say I'm European? Why don't you go a step higher and say I'm from the world? English is fairly accurate for what I am, in my opinion. And a lot of Bande, they just disagree. And I'm not saying I'm ethnically English. I'm ethnically Punjabi.
Like English and British to me is interchangeable because British is just the only British thing that we rep as a union is the Olympics. Otherwise, you never say it.
But if you say English and British is the same.
And also
passport,
if you write on your passport, nationality, United
British,
Kingdom. It's never England or Wales.
But if you say England and Britain is the same.
Yeah.
What is the contribution? And also, this is really embarrassing. I'm forgotten which is Britain is part of is Northern Ireland.
Yeah,
Northern Ireland,
Northern Ireland is a part of Britain,
and not the Big Irish.
Yeah, so Ireland isn't. Northern Ireland is,
and the UK is.
The UK is what?
Everything.
United UK Kingdom. Is Wales, Scotland, England, Northern Ireland.
So still,
Cayman Islands.
And Britain. You said Britain's the same.
Yeah, Great Britain, United Kingdom are the same. I think
they're used interchangeably.
That.
Great Britain, GB, United Kingdom, and British are all the same.
He wants to fact check.
Indy, check that because it's going to be really beastly.
We got Jamie here. Like Rogan.
Yeah, Jamie, pull it. Can you pull that up, Jamie?
What do you want to know? What country?
UK.
No, are they the same?
Between UK and Britain.
Great Britain. Yeah.
So I do think there's a difference. And as somebody who studied public law, I'm really embarrassed that I can't remember the difference. And this furthers the fact that I'm English and not all these other things. I got Scooby.
As a side point, what we're discussing here about definitions is really important in today's world. I say to a lot of people, when somebody wants to debate with me or talk to me about something, first agree definitions. If you don't agree definitions, you're going to end up fighting.
Yeah.
Very important. It's good relationship advice as well, actually, guys. Agree definitions.
According to AI Overview on Google, the United Kingdom is a political union of countries, while Great Britain is a geographical term for an island. Great Britain is the name of the island that includes England, Scotland, and Wales. Doesn't say Northern Ireland.
There you go. Yeah, that's what I meant.
The British Isles is a geographical term that refers to the islands of Great Britain and Ireland.
Now we got another term now,
which is different.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the reason I say English is because you said English and British. There's no
synonymous
differentiation.
No, Britain and the United Kingdom are not the same, but they are related. Wow. Holy shit, we've been wrong.
You said England and Britain. Being English and British, there's no difference. So what's the contribution of Wales and Scotland in that, their culture? Because they have their distinct culture.
I think that comes down to parliamentary stuff, like the way the seats are divvied up in Parliament.
No, but this is about identity. It's not about the political kind of constitution.
It is about identity. Fine, I get that, but I haven't met many Scottish Punjabis or Welsh Punjabis or Northern Irish Punjabis, if there are any.
But what's Punjabi got to do with your English?
You said you're English, but you said you're also English Punjabi.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm trying to find similarities of people that say the same thing.
Okay.
Would they say British first?
Oh, they would. Yeah,
because I feel like the English culture drives more of the British meaning.
Yeah.
Than the others.
But that's why I feel English, because everything I like, most of the culture are culturally English things.
Yeah.
And that's why it resonates with me as opposed to saying British. I'm fine. Like, by the way, for the record, it's not deep, innit?
Yeah,
it's not. But I find it funny if I say, English Punjabi, or say, I'm English. That is a point. Well, it's been on the news, right? People saying, is Rishi English or not?
Yeah.
That's a bit mad, isn't it? Like,
by that Constantine guy.
But everyone would be happy if he says British. What's the difference?
The perception, right? Here's the issue. The perception of English, because you have
Anglo-Saxon white.
Yeah, exactly. LBC, I think it's on LBC where that guy, I can't remember the guy, he was the Asian guy who was taking the call, had this exact, you showed it to me, like a 14-minute clip about saying, I'm English. He said, no. Because the caller basically is saying English means white. And that's the problem with people who are native to here, who saying, no, you can't be English. You can be British, you can't be English though. But the definition is wrong. That's the issue.
But British is blended. That's why.
And if that is the case, where does... So I'm not ethnically English. That's evident. but what about your cultural identity?
Yeah.
And is that even a concept that people agree on? You know, talk about your first principles and your definitions.
Yeah.
Is a cultural identity a thing? Like if someone's from Japan, moves to Punjab, their kids live in Punjab, they live in the Pind. He's as much as a Pindu, probably more of a Pindu. What did you say?
It's true, and they probably.
No, I'm just thinking about it.
Therefore, they
Japan
are Punjabi.
to the Pind.
Right? They're not ethnically Punjabi, we all agree.
Yeah.
Ethnically Japanese.
But they're
Punjabi.
Yeah.
More Punjabi than I'd say we are.
Yeah.
So then we can, and you know, we can recognize there's something to do with the cultural identity that is a real tangible thing. Right?
I think people in the UK are also worried about losing their roots of what it was to be British. Because if you think about it, there's this longing of how good colonialism was, Rule Britannia, like all that great grandeur that came with being British isn't there anymore. And they felt like that's been weathered away. And now all of a sudden we're being invaded, in inverting commas, by everybody else
Immigrants
coming to our great lands and taking over our shores. It's not that, but naturally that's been a
narrative.
That there has been a narrative push, but there's a reason for people coming over here to fulfill jobs that they need. Like there's much more answer behind it that isn't sexy,
which they casually forget. I think that's the issue.
No, it isn't. It isn't. They casually forget. It's easier to have a simplistic answer than it is to give a
nuanced,
complicated, actual. Here's the causality, and here's the actual reasoning for it, and these are the circumstances. Sorry, not circumstances. These are the outcomes of it. No one sees it in that way.
Yeah.
That's why people get so triggered about that English thing.
And to your point, what did I say? I said true school, Hair, Skepta, Nines. I said 40 towers. I said only fools and horses.
But the guys you chose are minorities.
They were, but that's English to me.
Yeah.
And that would be a big problem for somebody to say, what, this ding Punjabi MC from Coventry, how is he going to be English? He's not English. Brother, Bhangra music, what we know and love, and I always say Bhangra wrong, innit? People in the comments are like, he says it wrong. But that music came from England, right? PMC, all these people. Even before that, you know, Apana Sangeet and stuff. Yeah. All those bands, that's a English thing. That ain't like anything else. That's part of this country, part of this culture, because of empire and stuff. So because it's not just Punjabis, that's not just a Punjabi thing. Because that music didn't exist in Punjab, didn't originate from Punjab. Obviously the instruments and everything
influence
is Punjabi in it, and the ball is Bolli is Punjabi and everything, but it was made in England with that community and stuff, and that is a uniquely Punjabi English thing. That's what I'm saying.
Well, speaking of the Punjabi stuff, then we might as well jump into it.
Nice segue there, Indy.
Nice segue. I capitalize on my points.
So good on you.
Man, professional.
He's an anchor man.
First things first. You run Lishkara.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know the lyric. Garan, say it.
Oh,
right. So, you know what? All right. We're having this chat the other day, and you've listened to our podcast, right? And most of the time, he doesn't.
Every week.
I'll tell him the meaning of a word. But this time, so we were doing some prep for, I think it was your podcast, this podcast, and we were talking about Lishkara. And I said, Indy, what does that word even mean? And he's like, oh, it's something shiny or sparkling.
No, I said, I knew it because my first Bhangra team was called Lishkara Punjab there.
Oh,
and when I joined the team, my Punjabi was so bad. I said, what does that mean, boys? And they're like, lights of Punjab. I said, oh, cool. So Lishkara means lights. Done. And so he said,
so I didn't believe him because I didn't believe Indy. So I have to fact check. So then I Googled it and I said, oh yeah, sparkling. And I said, and then I had this moment back when I was in school, Garan MC, was Garan MC? I think it's DJ Sanj Garan MC, Lishkara Dera Kokida.
And it's a song,
right,
that goes,
so then some
we be up in the club. It's the same beat to that. Oh, use expert.
So I'm sitting there and he's asking me a question. I've gone really silent. And he's like, why are you silent? And I said, do you know what this means? Lishkara Dera Kokida. And I'm there going, Lishkara Dera Kokida. I was like, the sparkle from your coca. I was like, what shit lyric? And I was like, huh?
It's a very Punjabi folk, right?
No, it is. It is. But I was like,
Lishkara.
And I was like, is that all it means? Not, as in, you know, when you listen to a song and it moves you in a certain way. I've got all these memories sitting in a classroom with my boys, like jamming to the song. And then now, 20 years later, it's like, oh, the sparkle from your coca. I was a bit underwhelmed, right, in that moment. That's what it was for me. And I was like,
but the beat in that song and the way
beat,
but it is so Punjabi, right?
It is. It is.
You're long, you're changer. These things, they're like, no, other cultures ain't gonna talk about your nose ring for the hook line of a song. Are you mad?
But
we do, because
lost in translation.
We care about, right? I don't know why we do. Poetically, we like it.
But if you translate it, it loses its meaning and value. Like in the same way, like, you know, with Gurbani, right? You can read Gurbani, experience Gurbani, then you translate to English and you're like, you say sort of stuff all the time, you're like, it just doesn't capture what that's trying to say. In the same way with Punjabi lyrics, right?
Yeah.
Gora used to ask me like, "Aaj hor peen nu ji karde ho glasi pa de." Come on, guys, let's have another drink. And then they're like, "Oh, Jazz, that's a bit of a shit lyric." And I was like, no, but you're not getting it, man. Like when you're there and you're dancing and there's a vibe and there's a beat, it's not the same when you translate
the beat
it.
again was 50 Cent. Listen, they knew what they were doing. You took Up in the Club, you took 50 Cent, and you knew what you did. You did In the Club and Up in the Club. Listen, I'm telling you, it was a clubbing vibe back then. Put that beat over any Punjabi song, it slaps.
So, Lishkara.
By the way, slaps means
bangs.
Well, bangs.
I know what
bangs means good. Okay, cool. I'm gonna keep listening and labouring this point.
Hit to see.
Yeah,
ज़्यादा hit होया. What did they say? वो बहुत चल पिया वो गाना.
It's good one. Good kita.
Good song.
There's one word they use when it's
Challiya.
see or
Hit to see.
yeah, so funny.
On Lishkara,
Yes.
why did you want to run the event?
I've got a good circle around me, elders.
What actually is it for people that don't know?
Lishkara is a Punjabi folk music event where we platform mostly, well, at the moment it's been strictly British Punjabi artists, and we try to showcase the best of the best and authentic Punjabi folk music. So if you're wondering
what does that mean?
Punjabi folk music.
We did Bhangra, right? And there was this term thrown around, you got to be folk man on stage. And we all used it, didn't really understand what it meant. So when people say folk Punjabi music, tell us what that is.
Well, firstly, I'd say the Bhangra that we're seeing today, from my understanding, based on, you know, teachings I've been given, isn't folk. It's a
You mean the Bhangra dancing?
Yeah, it's a hybrid of what we see.
Correct. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
What do they call it? Gimmicks, cliches,
Mix
all
it,
those
Bhangra.
things,
Yeah.
and, you know, gymnastics and stuff. It's beautiful. Yo, if you've ever been to TBS, it is gymnastics, and you are all impressively athletic.
Yeah.
But and they'll admit it themselves. Not even admit. It's not a thing to admit. They would say themselves, it's evolved from folk Bhangra, traditional dances.
But everything does.
Yeah, and that's not what.
And it's not trying to be folk, though.
Yeah, and it's not trying to be.
I mean, folk live Bhangra does exist still.
Yes,
we've done live Bhangra. Like that is its own entity, Punjab based. But you're right, mix up Bhangra is completely different.
Where they'll do like a whole Luddi set, a whole Jummar.
Yeah,
they won't, like, it's all different. You got like, all these different dances. The folk music, and I'm not an expert, and this is the thing. Folk music, the definition is that it evolves usually through the oral tradition over time, right? So it can evolve, but now I would say it is cemented in what we've originally heard through the likes of, you know, Manak, Chinda, Yamkila, you know, all these other kind of artists in that time, and Yamla Jat and stuff. So that what you hear there, you know, with the traditional instruments, baja, tabla, tolki, tumbi, and a mandolin, which isn't traditional to South Asia, but it is, I would say, traditional to folk music, Punjabi folk music. That's what I would call folk. I'm not an expert at all. You know, I'm lucky I've got, you know, people in my life that have guided me and stuff. But, and you know, I've done research for Lishkara where we've basically delivered a talk on how folk music originated from Punjab and how closely it's tied to the poetry of Punjab. And it was all sourced and everything. So if you need those sources, message me. Someone actually messaged me. This is sick. Someone messaged me. They're doing their dissertation on like Punjabi folk and stuff like that. Incredible.
Nice.
So the more we do research on it, the more we can understand it better in the diaspora. But that's what I would say folk music is. And it's, you know, traditional Boldia, using traditional lyrics, folk tales and stuff like that.
Yeah. Like I'm going to be honest. I've grown up here. I'm Punjabi. I listen to Punjabi music.
Yeah.
But when I think the bit when we walked into your event in London, you were talking about Mirza and Sahiba's actual story. Again, I've heard it in so many songs, but not really ever looked at what the actual story was. And then you delivered it in a nice storytelling manner that you do. You know,
without chairs.
Yeah, without chairs.
Yo, the Birmingham event, we had chairs, but the prom event, utte thand si bo, so we didn't have the heating sorted. The next one, there'll be chairs, there'll be adequate heating or AC because we're looking at summer now.
Yeah.
Trust me, this is a grassroots thing,
It was
and we're
good,
growing
man.
with
It
the
was good.
audiences and come along and see what it's like. And big up, by the way, you two both came. You didn't know me like that. I really do
good,
appreciate
man.
it. It's
Listen,
really good.
me and Goran are always in it to try and promote other people with their events for the Punjabi scene.
You know, when you came in at TBS and you said, yeah, you clearly didn't know who it was. Again, when we walked into that event, you were giving the talk.
Yeah.
And you opened the door and you were telling us where to go. And then I didn't know who you were. And then he was like, it's Beant. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
See?
I love it though. It's good.
But I learned so much and I was just like, but then here's my next follow question to that is, that's the definition. That's great. Why is that important?
Why is that important? Because, really good question. That Punjabi folk, if you're it's not important if you're just banda, not bothered, right? It's not important to your life, doesn't matter. If you do care about your Punjabi culture, that Punjabi folk music was the precursor, in my opinion, to modern day Punjabi music that we hear today. If I did a video on this, the chakor, right? The chakor is a bird, fell in love with the moon. It comes from kind of Hindu thought and Hindu scriptures, right?
Okay.
Chakor comes in Gurbani, right? I believe Guru Arjan Dev Ji references the chakor, and it's about, you know, being just so enamored by something, right? Diljit Dosanjh references the chakor. Iggy Pannu recently referenced the chakor, right? And that comes from that folk kind of background. And if you care about Punjabi music, you care about, you know, you want to learn more about your culture, you realize how deep this kind of thread goes through, and it goes through Sikhi. The chakor is a great example because it comes in Gurbani, comes from a Hindu background, and it shows that the gurus were aware of folklore, the gurus were aware of the time they were living in and the cultural background of where they're coming from. Look, Gurbani is written in Rag.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So
yes.
These things matter. And then you see the evolution into the 60s, 70s, 80s, and through that music and those things. Yes, the Diljit is completely different to a Manak, but they're still referencing similar things. A.P. Dillon says in Excuses, 12 saal majjiyan charaiyan shadde, what does he say? Something like that about Takht Hazara. He's talking about Heer Ranjha, right? He goes to Takht Hazara and he's grazing cattle for 12 years. That's fine. You don't have to know that to enjoy the song. The song's a banger.
Correct.
But when you know what he's talking about, otherwise, if you listen to that song, you're like, what the hell is he talking about? 12 years, he's grazing, what's going on?
Why is it relevant? Why are you talking about that in song? Yeah.
And then when you know it,
get
it
the
just
backdrop to
elevates it. It's like, we're rap fans, right? We love when
you hear the subliminals.
Intertextuality, Kendrick's referencing this, Drake's referencing that time when this happened. And it's just...
Okay, see, that's a good analogy.
You know the song by Drake, Back to Back? For years, I didn't know that was about Meat Mill.
That's crazy.
I didn't know.
But were you not around?
No, I did, but I wasn't aware of how big the beef with him, Meat Mill, was at the time. Because I was into hip hop, but I wasn't a massive Drake fan at that point. So it didn't really hit my cipher. I was like, oh, whatever.
It's a great example, but I'm very shocked.
No, but I'm just explaining. Like, I didn't know for a long time.
Fair play.
I just thought it was a banger tune. I was like, yeah, these lyrics go hard.
I like the analogy what you just said there. So you're saying your experience deepens when you kind of know like inside stories, where it's coming from. It's just it's a different level, is what you're saying.
Like, oh wow, he's referencing that. Because that's what I like to do with my rap lyrics. Recently, just rapped up a tune. I'm talking about Heer Ranjha. Most people won't know, but what a nice little wink and nod to my people. Be like, oh yeah, they know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you build community, right? It is those little things references that we know about. And that's what culture is. Because otherwise, what does differentiate someone from someone else? You know what I'm saying? We actually know we have a shared knowledge, a shared background, a shared lineage, which we share with Musliman and Hindus and Buddhists or whoever happened to be in Punjab and who have massively contributed to that. We only came on the scene in 1469 as sects, right? So that means actually we bring each other together. And right now, Punjabi culture is dominated by apne Sikh log, but you can't go back. You can't dismiss what was before with Sheikh Faridji, Bulle Shah and people like this. Like they've contributed
Gurbani,
massively to Punjabi culture.
Did you know that Goran didn't know who hardcore was?
No.
Yeah,
I had a brain fog, and then I remember in the thing is when I hear that, I think of goodness gracious me, when he's on the phone, he's like, "Can I speak to hardcore?" You don't know this clip, do you?
Nah, I know the
You know
check
Goodness Gracious
please
Me,
guy
though.
Yeah.
and a
Yeah,
few of the
yeah,
other
yeah.
skits, but I don't think I've watched
This
it
skit is
back
about
to back.
him like phone sex, whatever, and he goes, "Can I speak to hardcore?" And it's just so
that
funny.
was Goodness Gracious Me, man.
And that was so ahead of his time. And then
Yeah.
the rest of that
Yeah.
clip is like, he's like, "So what you wearing?" And she's like, yeah, I'm wearing this like lingerie. She's like, no. He's like, I'm wearing a salwar kameez with big flowers on it. I got dal stains. It's such a funny clip. You need to watch it.
Goodness Gracious Me was ahead of his time.
It's
I'm telling you.
so
Yeah,
ahead
yeah.
of his time.
But he didn't clock that it's the person who was in
Yeah.
Glassy
And
Door,
then
Glassy
you
Thing,
said it, and I
Glassy
was like,
Jar.
oh yeah, okay, yeah. Now I remember.
Sorry,
now,
say it
of course.
again.
He didn't clock that it was a person from Glassy Door, Glassy Thing, Glassy Jar.
Put your hands in the air like you just don't care because you feel like a superstar.
Oh, she's a rapper, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm not super aware of her.
No. I
Personally,
think she
so-
was like a small part of
Mm.
the time period of Punjabi music in the 2000s. That was 2000s, right? Yeah.
2010s maybe? I don't know.
Okay, next thing. You have a top 5 of all-time singers.
Do I?
Yeah, you have top 5 all-time Bhangra singers, and I'm going to get them from you right now. Go.
I have a top 5. Wow.
Top 5
Punjabi,
Bhangra
we've got
singers, go.
Punjabi and we'll include folk in there. Manak, Bindrakya.
Mm.
And then shall we do like nowadays as well?
Whatever
Whoever
you
you
want.
want,
Your list.
man.
This ain't like skill wise, but this is what I listen to.
Mm.
See, that's how I approach the question as well. Who do you enjoy? That's how I answer.
There's
the
no
question.
point me being like, technically this guy was the best.
Yeah, because if I
well,
don't enjoy them, if I don't listen
I
to them
do,
often,
but-
no. But like,
but-
who do I listen to more?
yeah,
Yeah,
who
that's
am I
that's the
drawing
question.
for?
Yeah.
Diljit. So I've gone Manak, Bindrakya, Diljit.
Mm.
Who do I really enjoy? JK.
Mm.
Ooh.
Okay.
I think it's bad, man. And you have to put UK there as well. And there's some people in the UK where I'm like, I know you're a bad boy singer.
Mm.
I'm just not as familiar with your back catalogue. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Fifth. Who would I say fifth? Who do you?
See, I would throw in
All right, Kaka.
Yes.
Kaka's a good
Kaka for
one.
me is like,
Yeah.
I
up
would throw in Bakshi Billah. I
Oh.
know people might laugh at me for this,
No,
because you saw him
but
recently.
after
we
we
did
saw
see
him
him.
recently,
We did, yeah.
GSN, he ran the event, right? Death Before Dishonor. And we got to see Bakshi Billah live. And I've listened to his songs, but he's not had a song that's gone stupid viral. However,
Mm.
technically on the day, I've never seen an artist move me in such a way with his
Yeah.
voice than he did. I've been to Dilsh concerts, I've been to Ojala concerts. The way he was booming out his lyrics in a small community hall in Slough was unbelievable. I had goosebumps and I thought, I've never felt this way about a Punjabi song or a Punjabi singer. And I was then thinking, how would it have felt to have gone back in time to go and see Bindrakya or Manak? Like, we've seen that old video of Manak where he's speaking into the mic and he's singing, and the mic's back here, and he's belting out a hick, and it catches it beautifully. Do you know how much power you need to have to do that?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Crazy.
You say Bakshi is a very, very, very good singer, I think. Like, I
Technically,
was
he
really
so
impressed.
good,
I was
man.
really impressed at the show. And you know, like with Mani Sandhu, Sone Rangi.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Sick song. But I do think, even recently dropped a song with DJ Tally from Leamington,
Okay.
G Karta,
Yeah.
bad man song. But I do think he hasn't had like an album or like that massive global hit.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got, what's that one where he's in like the mixie place and then the guy's like doing pull-ups? What song's that? Oh, Yarane Mitrande.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's a bad boy song because that
Yeah.
came out in
Sick.
lockdown,
Yeah.
and I love that
Sick
song.
song.
Love it, man.
And
The amount
that's
of Bhangra teams that use that song as well was
really good song.
so good.
So I wouldn't personally put him top 5 because I don't listen to him like that.
Mm.
But I see what you're saying.
I've tried to, but his catalog isn't big enough for me.
Yeah.
But
What's
in
I
terms of the technicalities, I'd say he is a current person that
Yeah.
should be in it.
think I've drawn a bit of a blank, to be honest.
I've got Jazzy in mind.
Jazzy's
in mine.
yeah, go on. But then, then I feel bad for not saying him a bit earlier. Jazzy. But you know, there's so many legends where it is like that. You're just like, wow.
Mm.
Like, you ever listen to Hansraj Hans and you're just like, how have you sang like that? How is your voice doing that, bro?
Mm.
What the hell's going on?
Mm.
Even like we talk about new people like Ranjit Bawa, to me,
Okay.
his vocals are like amazing.
Mm.
It's just like, yo, you're sick. And then you go back. It's just, you know, when I sit there and you know, you just like, and your brain just almost like blows up. You're just like, how is my man doing that on a track?
Because it can keep on going. Yeah.
Mm.
And it's those subtle, like, way they move their voice between notes, and it's just like, yo, you're just built different. Like, it's insane.
You've been to boiler rooms, I can tell, because you've got wearing a Young Singh t-shirt.
Yeah.
Shout out Young Singh.
Yeah, pick up Young Singh, yeah.
How is it going to a Punjabi boiler room?
Oh, the Punjabi one in Southall was good, man.
Any of them, like.
So there's only been one.
Okay.
There's only been one Punjabi boiler room. Young Singh's played at other boiler rooms, I believe. But there was only
boiler room set was it? Was it Rath?
So there was Young Singh, there was Punjabi Hit Squad, I believe. I'm forgetting some people. Manj, big up Manj from Manj Sikh. Young Singh, Raf Spira, but with Bobby Kang.
Yep.
And I'm missing somebody because my brain was a while ago. And it was a good event. It was rammed. It was hot.
How sweaty were you?
Grim question. yeah, sweaty. It was good, man. It was good. It was good for the culture. I think it helped, and it shifted things in the UK. As much as we have a scene of Punjabi music in the UK, it's not where it once was.
Okay.
But that rave scene is definitely something that is Punjabi, with things like Jawani Forever, Boiler Room, Banga, all these events. That's like British Punjabi music has got something the rest of the world doesn't right now.
Jawani Forever. I've been to one. I wasn't as impressed as say you were, but I'm young.
Yeah.
I'm old. Sorry, you're young. You can stay till 6 a.m.
I'm young.
I bounced at 2.
6 a.m.
That's how long it goes to sometimes.
I can't be staying till
Bro,
man's no. Yeah, they'll be like, yo, Beant is onk. I fall asleep at
the
Motives.
most recent one, Miss Bourgeois came down 5 a.m.
Miss Bourgeois came at 5 a.m.
4 5 a.m. in the morning. I was like,
Miss
listen,
Bourgeois.
I didn't have patience for that. I need to go to bed.
What are you doing there?
I think Jawani Forever is a subculture, almost a subculture of a subculture. And I think some people don't understand that.
Okay.
It is for people that like that kind of music. And
when you say that kind of music, what do you mean? Because when
underground,
I was there and I heard it, the underground music's cool, but you come to an underground Punjabi rave, and when I was there, I heard probably 10% Punjabi songs where they teased it a little bit, and the rest of it was just drum and bass, and that's cool.
Yeah.
But I came for a Punjabi event. I didn't come for just a normal underground rave event.
Yeah.
And I get you've got to long it out so you don't tread on other people's toes as different DJs, and you all have different etiquette, and you can't just steal other people's songs or garnet and rinse it out. Fair. But then maybe make it shorter. Maybe make the time period shorter and just allow everybody to have a rave for that period.
When it comes to the timing and all that, I'm
sounding old, innit?
I'm not a club.
I know he's like, can you just get everyone together 1 hour tops? Maybe the bus okay, thank you, bye.
I'm not a club promoter. I don't know what good timings work. What Sukbaji's doing with that is doing well.
I think it's great. It's a great initiative. Yeah.
But yeah, I think with the timings, I'm going to put myself in there. We're just old.
Yeah. But you're 24. You're not that old.
I like going to sleep on time. I like waking up on time. I've got, things to do and stuff. Personally, I don't go out like that.
Yeah.
So I only step out when it's about community and culture. Jawani's community and culture. Jawani Forever, like that. There's a lot of people I met there who they're just sick. So it's built my community, built my culture. And people don't realize it started off as a private event. Okay. That's how you grow culture. He didn't make money off the first 3 ones.
Okay.
That's how you build community. That's how you build culture. And then you can make these events that everyone wants to go to.
Yeah.
Because you've
already made something popular with before.
Yeah. And that's how we talk about Lishkara, for example. That's what I want to do. Not a rave. It's for everybody. But it's learning from people like Suk, where you can bring people together and build a community and culture around. For me, it's Punjabi folk music. For him, it's around the Punjabi underground and the rave scene. That's what we're trying to do. What we've got online, bring it in person. So
there's other events that are popping up against this, right?
Yeah.
What are they like? Have you been to those?
I haven't been because, like I say, it's not something I don't go out like that.
Yeah.
But I think Punjabi underground raves, it's good for the scene because you get bookings, you get payments, and it grows people's creative. It grows people's ability to stay being in a creative field. I think that's really important. So yeah, the more people can do that, the better it is for the culture and for Punjabis, in my opinion.
What time do you think he would be able to handle it until he wants to go to sleep?
Your doctor?
Yeah.
It's a good
Me and
question.
doctor will go 9 o'clock and we leave at 11.
Bro, it opens at
I
half
know,
10.
I don't know. You know what? Like, I actually need to psych myself out when I
That's
go to
fair.
events like this.
Yeah, same.
I'm not
I need to nap.
I'm not
beforehand.
like
I need Red Bull. If I have Red Bull,
I need to smash a Red Bull.
I've been on stags where I can stay awake all night. If I have that Red Bull, that tactical Red Bull gets me through till 5, 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Then I'm fine.
Dangerous, man.
yeah.
But then I'm wired.
Then you're
Then I'm just like,
And
come
the
on,
next
let's
day
go.
you're
You-
written off.
You know how, not to cut you off, but you know how thingy I am, like Baba uncle level I am.
Hmm.
A full fat Coke gets me wired.
Really?
I drink Barney, bro. I'm
No,
a
this is
Barney
no lie
drinker.
to you.
Mans who know me know. Like, you know, when you go around someone's house and it's like,
Juice peanut, juice,
Tanda, or, you know, got him. Like, no, Barney, please. And they think you're doing a rude thing. Nah, brother.
There's a reason.
Barney. In my house, it's Barney.
With some ice.
No.
No
Mm.
ice.
Just Barney, man.
Sensitive teeth.
You know what it is, yeah? I'm all or nothing. So in the morning, I'll eat Barney and oats.
You will eat Barney and oats.
Yeah, Barney
You
and
can eat
oats.
Barney. Man's
Yeah.
at elite level.
Yeah. But you listen to what I'm saying? I'm not putting Dodd in there, bro.
Barney, you know what he's saying.
I'm like just grim, as in like just
Grim.
basic.
What do you
Prison-
want,
prison
gruel?
food.
It's
Oliver
yeah, gruel,
Twist
bro.
over here.
It's either that
prison food.
or then I'm moving to like shai paneer for dinner. You get me?
Shai
I'm
paneer.
all in or I'm nothing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I'm going to make something beautiful,
Do
and
you have jar?
yeah, I do drink chai.
What's
Okay.
more premium, chili paneer or shai paneer in paneer hierarchy?
Shai paneer.
Shai paneer is the most premium of all paneer.
I think because shai paneer is so buttery and so rich. I know chili paneer, but
What's-
chili paneer
alright.
can be made healthier.
What's the lowest of all the paneers?
Oh,
I didn't
paneer
see the
tari,
pod going
tari,
this way.
What? Matar paneer?
matar paneer tari.
Matar paneer is
Nah,
banging.
Tari, tari, not
nah.
sukha. Sukha is actually the best, but I won't say that.
Sukha is the
because-
lowest though, man. Because when I say lowest, I mean it's the one you're never gonna get it in a restaurant. Are you? Sukha paneer is what you eat at home.
Yeah, but
You never have shai paneer at home.
you haven't had my mum's sukha matar paneer. In
Everyone
fact,
says
I
that-
haven't had my
Everyone says
mum's.
their mum's paneer is the best, man.
No, but my mum's is. And in fact, let me actually say this on the podcast. My mum is the best mum
Right.
in the whole world as
I
well.
know she's listening. Shout out,
Mum's listening, yeah. I can say that without a doubt. What's that Punjabi song?
Okay.
Har janam, every janam I take, I want my mum to be my mum, yeah? And big up my dad as well. I want my dad to be my dad.
Mm.
Right.
That's how I feel.
Gotcha.
Like, genuinely.
What you're saying is you don't want mukti. You want to come back, is what you're saying.
Mm.
So what was
My
on
mum
that?
to be
Back
my
to
mum.
Leamington- back to Leamington Spa.
Leamington, I'm
Leamington
English.
Spa, yeah.
Leamington
English.
Back to Leamington Spa.
You want to be English?
My, English.
I wanna be English.
If they put me in Paris, I don't know.
Man,
Maybe Italy. You know what? I take
No,
Italy.
no.
I
If
say
he-
to Wagyu, I don't mind being in Italy. Spent a lot of time in Italy. I love it. I'll take Italy, but I want to be in England.
you're going to come back in Paris. You're going to jump on a boat, and then we're going to complain about it. Sale boat te aayi jande hain."
Yeah,
Dude,
look at him.
on these dinghies.
That's great.
Oh,
This is
what's the
what
thing I
I'm
was going to
saying.
ask you about the paneer? Wait, what were we talking
Okay.
about pre-paneer?
Doesn't matter. I can move on. Cool.
Talking about clubs being
Jawani,
going out
Jawani
late.
nights.
It's fine. I was about to ask him. He's gone
Jawani
now.
forever.
Jawani
Paneer.
nights.
Jawani forever.
I'm stuck on
I'm
paneer
kidding. I'm saying
This is the
wrong
thing,
event
right?
name, I know.
now.
You got to take that out because
They
man's
stole
going
the
to get
name.
vexed.
No. There's
Man's
no
gonna get
problems. There's
vexed.
no problems. There's no
Oh,
problems.
that's what I was going to tell you.
I'm saying it because people have taken a name and tried to make the same name. It's Jawani
Yeah.
Forever first, and Jawani Nights came after. But there's a blurring of the lines there where even I said it then inadvertently
There you go.
without
that's
even
the
knowing
issue.
it because you.
But that's the issue, right?
Which isn't right. You shouldn't steal other people's brand.
And there's no problem doing the event and just calling it something else. That's the whole issue. That's why I said it very politely on my story and that. I'm not part of Jawani forever, as in like I'm not. That's just Sook's thing, innit? I've been given the opportunity to perform there,
Mm.
but it's not like, oh, this is a whole clique or something. I'm here for Punjabi culture.
Period. That's
Yeah, and that's why I said that, because I was like, I seen the video, I was like, it's disrespectful. Doesn't need to be said.
Yeah, fair.
I've been told he's a nice guy as well, the DJ Azhar,
Mm.
and he's put on a lot of events. So it's nothing personal. It is just what it is, right? It's what I said in my story.
But you're
Yes.
smacking a fly there.
And
Yeah.
nearly said that iPad fly.
I got given full fan last week Coke once.
Yeah.
Right, this last year I was doing Panjabi at university. I proceeded to go outside, get on my friend's car on the bonnet, and do tamal. I was so high off that one Coke, and I'm the eldest person in the team.
Hold on.
This is a true story.
Sure, it was just Coke.
Yeah. Not
Sure,
even,
there
yeah,
was a
yeah,
little
yeah.
banga going on
No,
because
no,
that's
no, no.
crazy.
Full fat Coke, because just like you,
Karan,
I'm just not used to it.
why did you jump onto someone's bonnet and do that? Did you pay for the bonnet repair?
No, I didn't hurt his car. He's part of the Bangla team. He wasn't a random munda. It was Hardo, shout out Hardo.
Yeah, but
And,
wasn't his bonnet completely ruined?
No TXC. I was very light. I'm very nimble when I do
I was
tamal.
going to say, are you trying to say
Para banda?
Dr. Saab is para?
No,
course he
don't
is.
you?
You reckon?
He's wham.
Yo, can we actually talk
He's
about the
wham.
fact that Indy's wham?
Shut up, man.
So at GSN, I'm there.
Stop with this.
Go.
I'm there.
Do bus.
Give it a little juppy.
Yeah.
Stop with this.
And I'm feeling lads. I was like, yo, you're a
Relax,
gym lad.
Relax, man. Relax.
He is. It's taken him a long
Indy's a
time.
gym lad.
I don't talk
He's-
about it ever.
He's been working. I remember Indy, lockdown, right?
Yeah.
Lockdown, we were sending each other. I'm not going to finish that sentence, but he sent me a picture to show me his gym progress. Let me just clarify.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And because you're in your kitchen in your flat and you were doing this and you were like,
Yes,
it's all about, you remember, because you were like, it's all about back and lats and all
It
about back
was
and
all
lats.
about back and lats.
The thing was, in that picture, he had nothing, but I was like, Jalo, he's feeling good about himself, Tika. But now, yeah, he's been committed. You know what?
Yeah.
You know what his key success is? Little protein crisps.
Is it?
Bro, Lidl have the Lidl have the greatest
underrated.
assortment of protein little snacks.
I've tried them.
And because I have,
They're so good.
I'm an addict for crisps, bro. I'm
Is
a very savory kid.
Okay.
So I used to smash through like 4 or 5 packs of crisps each day as a kid.
Yeah.
It was bad addiction. I used to hide them in the sofa, like at home.
Were you a chubby kid?
No, I wasn't, but I never used to eat properly.
He's like, you all this crisps.
I never used to eat properly. So now I found this. This is the perfect middle. Protein crisps. I've been waiting for these for years. They're finally here.
And they
I have
taste
a
nice.
pack of those a day and I feel happy.
They taste nice. Like I go
Okay.
to, back when he had his flat, whatever, I go to his house and I'll be there for a weekend doing podcast stuff.
Just flat.
And yeah, Jovi. And Indy's made lunch, and then I love crisps
difference.
as well. But Indy knows, like he'll always ask me, very good like host like that. If I'm coming over, or Shindy's coming over,
What do
my
you
missus, what do you guys want to do shopping? So one time he didn't ask maybe, or maybe he did ask, I didn't reply. It's probably that I didn't reply. I get there and he gives me these plain ass buttony pea flavored geezy. What was it?
Listen, them pea crisps are like 74 calories a bag.
He crisp.
Bro, just don't even. I'm there.
You know,
I have my lunch
You know
with
what
this.
it is? It's
I'm like,
low
Indy.
calorie crisps, bro.
And that's fine. It's Indy, but listen, when I come
Yeah.
for a weekend, you get me some premium sensations. I want the shit, okay? And expense it to me. I'll pay for it, okay? Because
Invoice me.
Yeah, invoice me, right?
Give me some good
And
stuff.
then I go, I love going to his house now because he's always testing protein stuff.
yeah.
And so now I get there, the salt and vinegar ones, the barbecue ones are crap.
Yeah,
The salt and vinegar ones.
bang.
Try it, bro.
Okay.
10 grams of protein.
10 grams.
10 grams.
In
In a
30
bag.
gram, how many calories?
Badani.
Like
160, 180.
160, 180.
Wow, okay.
It's good ratio and they taste nice.
Okay.
Beyond.
And
Can you be both Punjabi and Sikh at the same time?
Yeah, 100.
Why?
Because one is your cultural identity and one is your religion. And you can be Punjabi and not be Sikh. And you can be Sikh and not be Punjabi.
Mm.
And you can be Punjabi and Sikh. And your Punjabi culture is in no doubt, in my opinion,
Mm.
is your Punjabi culture is influenced by Sikhi. And Sikhi, I wouldn't say was influenced by, but uses Punjabi culture in Gurbani, in anything. And we spoke about that with the Chakor and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my
Is that
answer
because
is a very
Punjab-
emphatic yes. And yeah, it's
Is
just a
that
yes.
because Punjab is the home of Sikhi?
It's because Punjab is the home of Sikhi. It's because Punjabi culture is compatible completely with Sikhi. It just depends what you choose to be your Punjabi culture. If you
Okay,
look to
that's-
Glassi
yeah.
and say,
Yeah.
Glassi is part of Punjabi culture
Mm.
and being a fool and stuff, then, well, yeah, that's your Punjabi culture. Peak for you. What shit culture you have. My Punjabi culture is poetry, it's art, is Bhangra dancing,
Mm.
folk dancing, folk music, folk stories.
Yeah.
It's opening your house to people. It's seva. It's mathai, roti pani, hard work,
Mm.
and it's anak. That's Punjabi as well.
Anak meaning?
Anak
Pride.
meaning honor. Anak, you know.
Pride.
you know,
It's like it's more than pride, but it's not pride and hankar pride,
yeah,
which is bad pride. It's like you're proud of.
yeah. That's anak is Punjabi as well. As much as it is a Sikh concept and a
Mm.
Sikh thing, Punjabis who are, Punjabi, that's what we are, right? Banda Singh Bahadur's Presence Revolt was Punjabis. We're saying, yo, get these mans out of here.
Mm.
It's that Dullah Patti kind of mindset, innit? He's a Muslim, but that's part of our culture. So, yeah, 100%. In my opinion, without a doubt, I don't blink. I'll stare at you right in the face. Anyone says
Mm.
no, I'll look you in the eye and say, I believe it is 100%. Maybe I'm wrong. I really doubt. I'm quite sure about this.
No, I think because you've given a breakdown of what it means to be Punjabi and what Punjabi values are. I think the polarized world we live in, people focus on only Punjabiism or being Punjabi equals sharab.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then so because of that, then therefore it's anti-Sikh.
There's so many people that I know who I actually work with and they say, you're Sikh. I said, yeah. Or sorry, are you Sikh? I said, yeah, I am. They're like, oh, so you love a drink then? I'm like, let me stop you right there, buddy.
Yeah,
And he's like, what do you mean? I said, we're not supposed to drink. And he said, okay. I said, we're not supposed to eat meat. if you follow the rules of Sikhi tradition.
Certain Maryada with the meat thing.
Yeah, but to simplify it for them,
fair,
I'm going to be
fair.
like, no.
Fair,
Because
fair.
otherwise, I'm going to be there doing like
Yeah.
PowerPoint slides and like, this is Sikhi, but look at it dragging
Yeah,
like, this
sorry.
way and that
You
way.
know what
and
it
then-
is? Because I
Oh,
know,
yeah.
I know your
gonna-
audience is nuanced
I
and they
can't do that.
understand,
So,
innit?
so I'm just going to give you a blanket answer.
Cheek,
We shouldn't drink. And he's
Yeah.
like, oh, but so many Sikhs do. I said, yeah, but that's because of their culture, not because of that. So,
Yeah.
it's a good distinction to make.
And
That's why the blurring of Punjabi and Sikhi is so common.
yeah. And is the blurring of the Punjabi and Sikhi from a non-Punjabi Sikh perspective, like Gore we meet, is common. And then I think the separation and the almost hatred I've witnessed in Sikh spaces for
inside now.
Punjabi culture is very common.
Like what?
I'm a Sikh, Punjabi culture is not very good for us. No, we're not Punjabi culture, it's all Sikh culture. Theek a, ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਆ. But then at the same time, Gurmukhi's written, Punjabi's written in Gurmukhi, you care about Punjab, the land, you cared about the Anandpur resolution, cared about things that affect Punjab. Punjabi culture is something I would argue you should also care about. And I say that fairly, I'm speaking fairly forcefully, which is, I feel like out of character, but it's something I'm passionate about. And I think some Sikh people in Sikh spaces do themselves a disservice and do the community a disservice by being so anti-Punjabi.
Damn, son, you're not wrong.
What I normally go back to them on this is a really good example, because with people like this, you have to give Sikh examples.
Yeah.
So if you listen to Katha around the time of Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, Guru Ramdas Ji Maharaj had 3 sons, of which Guru Arjan Dev Ji would go on to be Guru Sahib. We had 3 sons. And in Guru Sahib's time, there was a wedding that was going to happen in Lahore. And he asked all 3 of his sons to attend. So Baba Priti Dev was the eldest. Baba Mahadev was the middle. Baba Mahadev had no interest in the world and was basically in Samadhi his whole life. So,
Okay.
yeah. Baba Priti Dev was the eldest and expected to be the Guru. Guru Arjan Dev Ji had no longer to be the Guru, became the Guru.
Mhm.
He asked his 3 sons. In the end, Guru Arjan Dev Ji went to this wedding. But when you look at that and you look at the whole story, so this is in the time, and Guru Sahib understood, and if you listen to the Katha, he talks about, go and attend the wedding events. So this is happening. This is in Punjab. This is Punjab. And this is Guru Sahib endorsing it. Even they understood this is part of it. It's not one or the other. It's interplay. It's integral. There's no
because there's nothing wrong with doing your maya and stuff. Nothing wrong with the boli. I'm not saying you do gande stuff, but just normal ones, bari, barsi, katan, gyasis. Friendly, family friendly, it's fine.
Have you heard have you heard some of the ones that people do though?
Yeah.
There's
I personally, it's not deep.
no, not the X-rated ones. Like, there's funny ones like what? Body barsi khatga khatka le anda rabies, right?
Yeah.
Come on, dance outside the house. All the ladies. I was like, what?
What weddings are you
Body,
going
no. This is on video. I haven't attended this one.
Oh,
Body barsi khatga le anda famous grouse. Come on, guys, dance outside the house.
I was gonna say,
Oh, bro,
I've seen the maze one where they go.
Oh, yeah, bays. Yeah.
Oh, didn't you guys talk about that?
Yeah, we spoke about it last
Which
week.
one?
Yeah.
Nacho gaze or something.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. That was a banging bully, though.
The way we go off topic is crazy.
It's fantastic.
For the interplay.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't think it's a big deal, and yeah, a lot of Punjabi culture has a lot to offer Sikh people, and I don't need to say that Sikhi has a lot to offer the world, because we know it does, but yeah, they're not like oil and water the way a lot of people think of them as.
I get challenged the same way in terms of science. How can you be a doctor but have dharam? And I'm like, no. You look at the itihas of Einstein. Ask him, when they asked Einstein, do you believe in Rabba? And he's like, look, none of this is possible without Rabba. That's the biggest scientist ever. And he's saying, Rabba nahi kita. I might be explaining it in scientific terms, but Rabba nahi kita. There's no, it's not one or the other.
I think that's what we're in, right? We're in lack of nuance kind of times.
Polarized, yeah.
But you know what you say about Rab, like, we don't even, our concept of Rab isn't, that question of a design what's the word?
The architect.
An architect is not is not how we see it, like separate from the creation. If Rab permeates through the creation.
So this is going back to your video now, Ikonkar, right?
Yeah.
Which is, so what you're talking about essentially in that is Rab is omnipotent, which is, there is nothing that exists without Rab. So if you look at us now, Atma, where does Atma come from? Paratma. So we are, and this is even, I don't know if you know David Icke is. David Icke is quite prominent conspiracy theorist, right? But he's got a book on my shelf that my dad's read, and it just says, "We are gods." Right? And then I look at that thing now, and exactly like if somebody asked me, I don't know, I think I was doing a talk in Gurpur this year, and I think somebody asked me, what is the definition of Brahmgyani?
Yeah.
Right. And I said, well, if you go to Sukhmani Sahib and you're actually looking at what Maharaj is saying about Brahmgyani, Maharaj is saying there is no difference between Brahmgyani and Rab. There is no difference. So if you understand that and really understand what that's trying to say is, there is no, and you talk about it in that video, the separation, right? The veil, the male, the maya, the homme.
Vich parda home,
right?
That's what I said.
Vaheguru Gurmantar hai, jap homme koe. Once that goes, there is no separation between you and Rab.
And that
You are Rab.
separation, not to cut you off, that separation is an illusion.
Yeah.
So there is no separation. Everything is Rab, everything is God, everything is one. It's all ek. And you just think you're separate. You think this gun is not part of this one consciousness and stuff like that. And to be fair, that video is basically just a rip-off of Satpal, Nanak Naam, Jawala Singh, and Harvey and stuff, people that have told me stuff. So it's nothing, I mean, they're ripping off Gurbani in it. No, this is all.
No, it's just all, how you connect with it.
Yeah. And it's all one anyway, so it's not a big deal. But just to put that out there, that it's not me, reading and.
No, but it's your take on it and how it makes you feel, right?
Yeah.
But I know this is something we've discussed, right? Which is about, I feel parts of what you talk about is the oversimplification of Sikhi, which sometimes does it disservice.
Yeah.
True. But then I think I went back to you on this and I said, well, you have to meet people where they are. So before someone gets deep into Sikhi, they'll have to start at some point. And whether that is an oversimplification, like the one that we talk about all the time is, you go to Gurdwara, good, you'll be happy, and that's all you have to do.
Yeah.
If that's the starting point for you to go into Gurdwara, I'm more than happy. If you then develop Pyar and Prem because of that, and then start going Dunga with that, great. But if you stay there and you just think,
but that right, to the Gurdwara, to be fair, you're probably likely to stay there because what Gurdwara and Kaka Mohanwalia, he's got that pod, Dharam Seva pod, where he talks about he said it in recent TikTok I've seen. He was like, our Gurdwara, you go there, you can't ask a question, you can't do discourse, you can't learn.
Like Vichar, you're saying Vichar.
You can't do that at many places. That's what Gurmat camps are meant to be for.
And even
Gurmat camps are supposed to be there to identify and break down questions. And only certain, this is me speaking from a heavy bias of nearly half my life ago, but the ones I went to were very open discussion areas.
Fair. That's good.
Right, which is good. But back in the day, I don't know what it's like now. I'm just saying what it was like. Boss camp was seen as a place where you couldn't do that. And it was seen as just being very militant. But now, I hope it's changed and it's more open discussion. Because that's what needs to happen to bring people closer to their understanding of what Sikhi means.
I've never been to boss camp. But I actually really want to go. And I think
be a Sevadar. You can probably make a big difference. No. But that's the only way that you can go now at your age because
I can't.
It's for kids to teach.
Technically I'm a student. I'm a legal student.
You're 24 years old. You're really sitting there with Nyani that are 12, 13.
No, boss camp's not 12, 13, is it?
Yeah.
I thought boss camp's students.
Nyani. No, it's for Nyani.
Is it?
Wait,
I know
there might be age brackets.
No, boss camp's that one where you go residential. I swear it's like adults.
Yeah.
I think you might be right because boss help with the university scene with the Langrang campus stuff. So there definitely is a older scene as well.
There might be one introduced, fine. But I would go as a Sevadar and help and be like, all right, let's talk to these kids about what they actually think. Because for the ones that I went to, there was this mix of Monne and Singhs. And a lot of the Singhs wouldn't mix with the Monne because they're like, nah, fuck them, man. Those kids are Monne. We don't want to be.
Sorry, this is at the camp.
We don't want to talk to them at camp.
This is at camp.
At Sikhi camp.
That's not Sikhi camp.
There was this elitism, right? So what us as the team of Sevadars had to do was to get them to mix together. And at the end of it, some of them actually were friends. And later on in life, we meet a few of them, and they're like, "Yo, thank you for helping me get out of that stupid mindset because now we're able to just mix with other people that aren't just things."
This sounds like American History X, man. Edward Norton, his journey in that film.
Maybe not that bad.
No, it sounds like that, man. That's bad, man.
Have you seen?
That's what people thought, though.
I didn't know that.
People genuinely used to think. Kids used to think like that at our age. I don't know if it's still there. I'm speaking from a really old experience.
Again, the best example of these people, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. Who's Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj before he's Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj?
Yeah.
Rishi Dushdaman.
Yeah.
Maharaj writes in Pachitra Natak, right?
Yeah.
Where was Maharaj when Rab came to him? Maharaj was in Sachkhand.
Yeah.
Right? Hemkund Sahib. So he'd already had mukti as a non-Sikh. people who come with this idea that there is this one path to Rabb. The beauty of Sikhi is this. Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj came and said, look, in Kal Yug, when you have this amount of time, not this amount of time, like you used to have, right, in these Pele Yugs, this is an expedited methodology that works. We are the living proof that this works.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to follow it, follow it. You don't have to. There still are other ways to Rabb. Simran works, right?
Mm-hmm.
But pre-Simran, what was it? Pranayam, breathing exercises. Pre-Seva, what was it? It was the Pasya, standing in the jungle for 36 years. You look at Bhagat Fariji's life, what did he do before he got enlightenment? Before he had, he was Nagura, so he didn't have a guru, a murshid, that's what they would say in Baba Fariji's time. 36 years, he's the Bhagat who's done the most amount of tapasya. Do you know his Baba Fariji's story?
I remember, is it the Mithyai where his mum would put...
So that was Gur. So the Gur, the Gur was under the carpet, and she basically said to him, every day you part. She was putting the Gur there, but there was obviously an example where she'd forgot to do it.
Yeah.
And then Rabb gave like 20 of Gur. Yeah. But later on, having done all this tapasya for like 30 plus years, he did develop power, did the Siddh, right? Mm-hmm. And there's this bit where he's walking basically, and he tests his powers, and there's birds flying, and he says, Chiriyan mar, and these birds just die. And then he feels bad, and he says, Chiriyan or, and the birds go up.
Right.
So he had the power, right? And this power comes from doing tapasya.
Yeah.
But then he gets his village. Now he's older, and there's a 19-year-old kuri who's basically pouring pani out of this well, and he asks for pani, and she seems to ignore him, and then she seems to ignore him again, and then she turns to him, and this girl in the village is 100 miles away from where this bird incident happened. 100 miles, old, there's no telephones. She says, "Babbe, I think chiri nahi man lage the." And he's like, "How did you know
what I did?
What level of spiritual power do you have? And teach me what it is." And she turns to him and says, "I don't know what you're talking about. All I've done is seva of my pati." That's what she says in the Babaji's doing the katha of this. And this is to show, so when people ask, well, what's the value of seva? 6 years of tapasya is equivalent to 6 months of Gurudi seva. Yeah. That's the power of seva.
And to add to, this is something I've read in Gurbani, Gur ki seva, Shabd Bichar.
That is a form of seva.
So then, if Maharaj is telling you that's how you do your seva, then we should all be trying to engage in Gurbani.
Do you know why vichar is so powerful?
Yeah.
Best example I found. If I say to somebody who's getting a Sikhi, go and read Japji Sahib part. Not listen to it in Kirtan version. Yeah. Go and read it.
Yeah.
Within 5 seconds, what happens?
Does zone out.
Right. Now, the same bacha, sit down. Let's talk about Baba Fariji's Qurbani. How engaged are they? So the thing with vichar is, it keeps you there.
Yeah.
Right? And if that's your way in, and actually, what you said is actually correct. There are 9 types of seva.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember all 9 types. But Babaji's done the vichar on this, the katha on this, and one of them is vichar. It is a form of bhakti. Sorry, not 9 forms of seva. There's 9 forms of bhakti, of which one of them is vichar.
Okay.
Very powerful.
Question about seva.
Yeah.
You posted on Twitter the other day saying there was a Singh missing on that tube of a guy ranting at war.
Oh yeah.
And you were saying if a Singh was there, it wouldn't happen.
No.
I don't believe you.
If a pakka Singh.
I don't believe you.
Why not?
Because I don't feel like anyone in that moment should try and be a big man and intervene.
Oh,
especially not in London.
Oh, brother, I would. You see that guy?
Yeah, but
he wasn't even a big man. So I wouldn't even be that scared.
No,
if he was 7 foot, then I would be questioning it.
But even then, I still wouldn't get involved because I've seen guys try and get involved and get sparked, and it's not worth it. In that moment, they thought they were doing a noble thing, but when a real thing happens to you, you pay the consequences.
And that's the risk, isn't it, as a saying?
But that's the risk that isn't, it's not worth it, man. You'd rather let the authorities handle it instead of anything.
But there's no authority on that train. Just a train. I personally, I don't know. I take the DLR because I live in East London. People know that now. There's no driver.
Yeah.
If I see something, look, I'm not a pakka saying it. I'm not like proper like on that level. If I seen the average banda, as the Dr. Saab was surprised that I'm 6'2", the average banda is going to be smaller than me. Can kind of handle myself. I would handle it, right? I think I would anyway. That's just, there's a risk that guy knows MMA and he'll batter you. If someone's shouting at someone moving mad, number one, I'm not saying I'll punch the guy. I'll stand up and say, relax, simmer down. And you know why I know I could do that? It's because I've done it before on buses. I've been in London 5 years. I've said it. I said, relax now. That's too much. You're moving mad. People relax. There's a way you can do it. The way you use your tone. Don't escalate, de-escalate. But you don't come from a place of weakness. from a place of strength, measured, calm, and that shit will stop because people, they look around, they think they're Superman. Nah, bro, you ain't Superman. Then people, you'll always notice people will then join in with you. They know what's right. They're just scared.
They need somebody to make the first move.
Yeah, yeah.
I still don't see it, man.
Really?
Because I've seen people do it and I've seen the consequence. I'm like, nope.
Let me put a hypothetical for you, Indy. Because in this video, yes, he's ranting. Yes, he's angry. But there's no physical harm that actually came to the lady.
Yeah,
right?
but he was getting in her face.
Yeah. But listen, if he started beating her up, would you intervene?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So that's what we're talking about. It's thresholds of intervention.
Thresholds of intervention is different. If someone's shouting, I'm like, nah, it's not.
Oh, Indy, you should have said that.
Why?
I think that's a really important thing to say. I thought you were just saying I'd never intervene.
No. If it was getting to the point where someone's getting battered, it's like, whoa, we need to jump in and stop this somehow.
Yeah.
Man versus woman. Man versus man, I don't know.
Oh, it depends on the situation.
Man versus man is different.
Really depends on the
Man versus
situation.
woman, of course you jump in. However, man versus man,
Really depends on the situation with man versus man.
And if it's a gang of guys beating a guy up, you jumping in is not going to help that situation.
See, that's where my Sikhi doesn't match what it should be, in my opinion. If it's a gang of guys, I'm actually getting a little bit shook. Very shook, let's be honest.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be like that. If someone's actually getting battered, you should be like,
You should
superhero
be,
saying,
but
and it just going like, bang. Okay, cool. I got stabbed as well. Going, I die here. It's all right. But we're not on that level then.
no.
So yeah, but I think he was looked like it could quickly become violent. So I would have jumped in and been like, yo, simmer down, man. No need to talk like that. And then suddenly things are a bit more easy. That's how I've done it before, and it's worked every time. So yeah, I would jump in personally.
Respect to you, bro.
But I'm also that kind of guy who just is nosy bastard. You know, I'm an earwigger. I love London because mans think that we're in London, yeah, no one can hear me on the tube. Roll up in that bar. Nah, bro, I'm listening.
He's there
I
taking
love
notes.
it. I'm a bochanga like that. I'm listening to all these conversations.
Noise cancelling off. I'm like, let me hear the noise.
Yeah, you get me?
Let me hear the because everyone's sitting in silence. And when someone speaks, you're like, huh? What are you doing, bro? It's 8 a.m. Why are you talking?
Yeah,
London's weird, man.
I love it.
We were going to a podcast once, and we got off at the station, and I think the lady had dropped. Was it money or something else? What was it? She dropped
Yeah, she dropped a coin.
a coin, or fine, it's coin, right?
No, she dropped a pass.
Right, she dropped a pass. Okay.
Yeah.
So normal thing, what I would do, not from London. Excuse me, sorry, you just dropped your thing. Or I'd get it. Indy.
I walked past her, just went.
I was like, dude, you got a podcast ball?
No, it's fine.
He's like, we don't do that. in London.
She understood.
Yeah, I know she understood. It's just London's weird.
Well, I go to New Street just now.
Yeah.
I'm on the escalator.
Yeah.
You know what it is.
Oh, there's no left and right in Birmingham.
There isn't.
What the
Outside
hell,
of
man?
London- outside of London.
I never realised how
Disney
long a
exists.
bloody escalator
exists.
ride is. That shit is
Yeah.
long.
They don't. There's no
They
space
just-
there.
I was like-
Everyone in Birmingham, this is the highlight of their day. Being on the escalator, they're like,
wow.
ride the Jersey.
But Jari, man, nah, I was not a fan of that. I was thinking, I was on time, and then it made me actually think. I was like, "What? You're not even in a rush." I was on time to see you guys.
In
It's
London,
all
it's
fine.
always on a rush.
In London. I'm
Rush,
always
rush,
on the
rush.
left, even if I've Ram now got nothing to
I'm
do.
always
I'm always running up.
always
this-
walking up. Yeah,
You
every
get
time
me?
because I feel like I can get somewhere faster.
Yeah, but it's something to think about. Why are we like that in London? We're a bit tapped.
Because you're adapting to your habitat.
No one thanks the driver and the
Well,
bus.
No, I do.
Oh, they do, yeah.
In
But
London,
sometimes
I
do.
stopped
Sometimes I
because
do.
people
Sometimes I'm
don't
like,
do it,
cheers.
and they look at you weird. Maybe I should do it. It's just not part of. But then you know what? It's part of their culture.
Here we go back to the same thing. Subculture.
Their culture in London is different. Is not the same as if I'm in Leamington. I'm thanking everyone.
Yeah, being polite.
Yeah.
Bro, people give way outside of London. Imagine that. They give way in the car.
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
It must be nice being able to drive.
I flash a
It
lot of
is.
people.
Can't lie. It is. Can't lie. Great.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
You better learn. Beant, tell people where they can find you, bro.
Where Beant Artist on TikTok, Beant.artist on Insta, Lishkara,
Because people will spell it differently.
Lishkara.
No,
Oh,
Beant.
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 There you go.
And Lishkara spelled Lishkara. And thank you so much for having me.
No, man, thank you for
Really
coming.
appreciate it.
Anytime.
Yeah, big up.
People, we'll see you next week. Goodbye.